Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very glad that you are here as we take a look into our cosmic origin. Author, researcher Ismael Perez is here tonight. Instead of swimming with the sharks in California, he's decided to join us instead. We'll get to him momentarily. We'll also bring in Dirty Filth for another crazy cartoon for all of you, because, you know, we love Dirty Filth around here. And all of you are here as well, so we got to say hello to Race Fan in the gold medal position, Trucker Andrew with the silver, Laura Lobbs taking home the bronze medal tonight. Hi, Dino Bravo and Penny Van. Rod Peanut, welcome to SOR Chat. Roy the Boy, how are you, my man? Brown Dwarf, good to see you. As we continue on with Roll Call, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, thanks for joining us. Hi, Les Paul Holland in Australia. Guy Calgary and Raymond L. How are you? D. Cohen, Deer Slayer. What's going on? Deer Slayer will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Kevin, Alien Universe, Lisa C., Luscious Jules. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming on in. Bobbert, what's happening, my man? Paranormal Marv, Paramarv, Sandra Kincaid, D. Cypher. Good to see you all here. Let's continue with roll call from Stockholm, Sweden, wearing number 32 tonight, starting in goal. Lars Janssen. There he is. Take a bow, Lars. Scott Rosen, Jessica and W. David Page. How you doing? Asteroid, what's happening? Just another guy named Harry. What's going on? And let's continue on with roll call. Android Paranormal, D. Henderson, Rose Brooks, Stargazer. Good to see you all. Hi, Free Your Mind, and Richard Elmore. Forrest Louis, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you so much for your love. Ozzy, what's happening? Noble Patrick, Mary Jean G., welcome to SOR Chat. Hi, Christine Lynn, and who else do we have? Sycophia and Jimmy Gonzalez. How you doing? Scott Rosen again. What's happening? Let's scroll on down. Be the Arrow, UFO Golden. Jonathan Sims, welcome to SOR Chat. Good to see you. Okay, let's continue on with our roll call because we love saying hello to each and every one of you. Sabrina, how are you? Kathy Evans, War Criminal. What's happening, guys? Hope you're having a good night. Marty Burback is back. Marty will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Mike Bothwell and Bryson's Folly, good to see you. Hi, Super Crazy, Digger Dog, and Thomas Rock, thanks for coming on in. Roger Blair from Eastern Kentucky, welcome to SOR Chat. And Ivan 007, good to see you. Hi, Blue Cruise. And where are we here? Paranormal Highway, thanks for coming on in. And scrolling on down, we are caught up for now. Let's get the radio side going. So that way, Bill WD-40 can make his way into the chat room and lube us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, I have a visitor. What's happening, buddy? Come here. Did you have fun? You're dirty. You better go in the shower. Your face doesn't even look clean. My little guy has entered the studio. He just got back from the park. NeuroStream, how's it going? And let's see. Thank you, NeuroStream, for that great super chat. Very much appreciate it. And that pen's broken, bud. Here. And here we go, everybody. It's that time of the night to get your horns up. Oh, no, I lied. We got 30 seconds. 30 seconds before we're going to launch. And Derek Galloway, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Where is Doug Shelby? How can we start the show without the Doug Shelby? I don't know. And who else hopped in here? T2E, how you doing? And Silent Listen, good to see you. Okay, now I'm ready. Are you ready? Here we go. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old baby the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a power show of woo tonight. Author, researcher Ismael Perez is going to come in talking about our cosmic world, time travel, aliens, AI, and he's got fantastic hair as well. High and tight tonight. Definitely. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton returns for another spooky story. Then right after that, Robin McCrae will be here for the Cryptid Report. All right, let's hammer it down here. Ismael Perez stands as a celebrated figure in the captivating realms of cosmic exploration, alien phenomena, artificial intelligence, and historical analysis. At the core of Ishmael's expertise lies his best-selling book, Our Cosmic Origin, where he unveils the mysteries of our shared cosmic heritage, igniting a newfound wonder and appreciation for the vast expanse of the universe. This is going to be a power topic tonight. Ishmael, thank you so much for joining us on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, my friend. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm usually pretty good here. I'll be honest with you. I never really have listeners or viewers in my studio. So the fact that my little guy is in here, I'm trying to figure out what he's doing, but that's okay. We still have a hell of a show to put on here. He just likes watching Dad work sometimes. So
maybe he's there observing because one day he's probably going to take over the radio show, right? Sit in your place.
Maybe. I hope better for him. Because who knows if radio will even exist by the time he's an adult. But, the big thing for him is, I try and keep him as alert as possible with what's going on in the world. And even recently, we had some pretty in-depth conversations. He's a very old soul, a very deep thinker. And, sometimes the questions he was asking, like the other day, we had a conversation on climate change, and we had conversations about AI, and we've had conversations about, things that a 10-year-old should not be talking about. What happened to the days of bike riding and playing football and hide and go seek with your buddies? And today, 10-year-olds are worried or concerned about wondering what AI is all about. It sure has been a shift very fast over the last few years, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And I believe that the reason kids are no longer riding their bikes and playing marbles with the neighbor kids, and are actually involving themselves in intellectual matters at such an early age, is because as I speak, we're having a new influx of souls coming from higher dimensions, called by many names: indigos, star children, crystal children, that are already born with some sort of a inbuilt mechanism that allows them to see through the veil of lies that society has programmed us to believe. And so that explains why your son is asking the serious questions. We are moving into a new era, and a new, you could say, human 3.0 is on the rise. And I'm not talking about merging with technology and becoming a cyborg. I'm talking about similar to the movie Expanse. There's going to be some sort of a activation of dormant DNA, where it's going to begin with the few, and then it's going to set a chain reaction. All of a sudden, we're going to be coexisting with superhumans, humans that have actual X-Men superpowers. And that's awesome, right?
Is it though? Is it though?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm not sure it is, because, I look at my son and even my daughters, who are
Mhm.
much older than him, and I look at what they do to the internet, what they have lost as children. Now, a lot of people say, well, Dave, it's your job as a parent in order to, take that internet away, make them go outside, make them play Tonka trucks or Transformers, or, shoot some hockey on the streets, or in your case, down in California, go surfing or skateboarding, or
Mhm.
whatever it may be. We seem to have lost touch with, and even a lot of parents have lost touch with, even signing their kids up for music or sports, because nowadays we seem to be very 1984, where we don't like children going outside anymore. It's a dangerous world out there, according to the media. There's not a lot of good that can happen out when you leave the four corners of your house. I mean, it's a different realm, and I don't know if that's better. I really don't.
Well, these kids have obviously more strands of DNA active than the typical two helixes. From what I've been gathering through my research, is that it's a process that takes a few years, but it starts with different incarnation of older souls coming into bodies that are somewhat genetically more advanced than the rest of the humans and stuff. And I think that has a lot to do with what's happening right now. We are living in the most exciting times ever, man, where, if we get lucky enough, I believe, we will be witnessing the rise of some sort of genetic mutation on the rise, where, all of a sudden people are going to be waking up with superhuman abilities based on this sudden mutation of genetics that is taking place, which is awesome. I know a lot of religious people are not going to be happy about that, because they're expecting some sort of external savior to come from the sky. But I've always believed, my friend, that that the changes that are happening, or the rise of what we call superhumans, or humans with supernatural abilities, was going to happen naturally and organically. And according to the secret archives, or the secret prophecies, not the religious modified records that we've all been taught, it is believed that it is going to happen at the end of the cycle, which is now, and that it will begin with a few. And I believe that those are the star people that are living among us. I believe that not everybody on the planet is Homo sapiens sapien anymore. I believe that there are a lot of hybrids out there that look human, they feel human, but they are really installed with advanced alien genetics. And some people call them the star people, the star seeds, and they're already walking among us. So we'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds.
How did you get on this path? How
You
did
know what?
you find yourself?
Well, I've said it in many other interviews. Ever since I was a kid, I felt different. I used to communicate with animals and plants. I used to read thoughts telepathically, read people's thoughts, and I used to think that was normal. Come to find out that my siblings and my cousins were unable to do so, and they used to make fun of me and stuff and called me weird and crazy. So I did also, unfortunately, have a very strong religious Catholic upbringing. So I was told that stuff was of the devil. To not, you know, involve myself with any of that stuff. So I was forced to like shut my abilities down. So I knew I was different from the get-go. Even throughout my grade school and throughout high school, I was different. I was always considered the outcast, the kid sitting in the back of the class, spacing out supposedly, but I was just having visions. I was always an abstract thinker. And one day I started meditating at the age of 21. And then that's when I all of a sudden started unraveling my inner knowing of things. That's when I started breaking out of the matrix, consciously speaking. I started perceiving things beyond the norm, beyond the program, because everything is a program in life. Religion is a program. The educational system is a program. The moment we're born, the first words that come out of our parents' mouth is designed to keep us in this program. So when I started exiting out of the program, the first thing that I figured out is that I wasn't the only one that was different, that there were millions of others out there who are like me. And then I started researching, the starseed concept. And then that's when I came to understand that there's millions of people out there that are not really human. Even though we're in a human body, we chose to come at this time, right? We chose to come and incarnate in human bodies for multiple reasons. According to Dolores Cannon, the primary reason was to pretty much raise the collective frequency of the planet, because as you know, everything is vibration. Everything is emanating a frequency. We are vibration. So through the chakras, we're emanating we're emanating a type of frequency, and the old souls that are now in human form are vibrating at a higher influx of energy vibration. And so it is believed that, there's multiple reasons why the star seeds are here. And a lot of this also corresponds to the ending of an old era, the ending of various cycles that are now coming into culmination, my friend. We're not just ending a 2,160-year cycle, which is the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aquarius, but we're also ending a 5,314-year cycle, which began approximately 5,000, years ago, known as the World Age, but we're also ending a 26,000-year cycle. And then above that, we're also ending a 226 million year cycle. So overall, we're living in the best times. We're living in the best times where, things are going to be changing dramatically on planet Earth. And unless you are waking out of the programming, exiting the matrix, man, it's not going to be a smooth ride for you.
So how does one exit this matrix? What do we got to do? Because I know when I need to exit, I go out in the forest. I take my family with me. We go look at nature, maybe, go hang out by some, 100-year-old, 200-year-old trees, go look for wildlife, and enjoy what this planet has to offer. What do you do to exit the matrix?
Well, that and other things, I strongly believe in taking time out of your day and spending at least 20 to 30 minutes a day around nature, whether it's a lake, a river, a stream, the mountain, the ocean, a national park. I don't care. Go spend time with nature. All right. Nature is our number one friend. The elements are alive. We live in a conscious planet. Spend time with nature. Okay. Secondly, I would say take 30 to 45 minutes to even an hour if you can, and learn how to meditate, learn how to quiet your mind so that you could alter your beta, what is it called? Theta wave frequency state of consciousness to an alpha and then a theta. And then, of course, eventually the whole goal is to be in a theta mind wave or delta mind wave frequency where you can begin to access information beyond this matrix. So if you learn how to master meditation through the breathing, through yoga, tai chi, I don't care what it is, implement some spiritual practice, I guarantee you, your consciousness will expand beyond, the program.
So for you, when did you start seeing things, experiencing things not of this world?
Well, as a kid, I used to see things. I used to see ships. I used to see spaceships. Alien craft. I knew that others couldn't see it. And I do believe that they do cloak themselves, only allowing certain people to see it. Right, people that are vibrating at the right frequency. But even more so, when I regained my abilities back in my inner knowing of things beyond the matrix at the age of 21, I started seeing craft again. I started feeling like there was some sort of telepathic communication going on between me and the craft that I was looking up. And they would tell me, "Oh, don't worry, Ishmael. No one could see us. We're cloaked. Only you could see us. And we're downstreaming information to you because we need you to write certain books." So the first book that I wrote was called the secret, the shadow government, secret government. And it pretty much just exposes the truth about secret societies and how they influence events on a world scale, and the secret history of the world based on the battle between, the what I call the Luciferian Brotherhood and the Melchizedek Brotherhood, which is the Brotherhood of Light. But then I started receiving information beyond this realm, where I was able to connect this proxy war, this war that's been going on in our world between the good guys and the bad guys, to an off-world battle that's been going on in our universe for millions and millions of years. We're talking about even over 1 billion years ago, involving many worlds, a real-life Star Wars that took place in the history of our galaxy. So when people go watch movies like Star Wars and think it's sci-fi, guess again, guys, we're living in Star Wars. It's just that our Earth has been isolated from the galactic, scene for the last few thousand years. Of course, ever since Atlantis fell, we've been kind of shut off from the rest of the galactic community.
Did you have relationships with aliens?
No, just spiritual relationships. I was able to connect with my star family. So I think that all the millions of starseeds out there who are human alien hybrids and incarnated in human bodies, but they have advanced genetics. All right. I believe that they all have some sort of star family, that they're all connected to some sort of a galactic group of beings out there that are actually monitoring and protecting you constantly. I hear reports a lot of people that are starseeds who actually see ships following them, or fleets following them everywhere they go. Then they're there just to protect you. So yeah, I had a spiritual relationship with these crafts that I've been experiencing my whole life. And
did they ever take you out there to show you the galactic universe and what it's all about, and how this was all put together like a puzzle piece?
Well, I'm sure they have, but it wasn't until recently, in the last few years, where I started actually having memories, and you could say recalls of what would happen when I would sleep here at night, and this body would sleep, and then my consciousness would transfer into my galactic avatar. Because we have different avatars in different dimensions, whether we know it or not. We're not just existing here in a human form of flesh and bones in the 3D. We have avatars on different levels of reality, and they're all operating on different frequencies, by the way. Our consciousness is so vast, my friend, that it's only a portion of our consciousness that is needed to operate this third dimensional body, whereas the other 99% of our consciousness is operating different avatars on higher dimensions all simultaneously. And so in the last few years, yeah, I know this is crazy stuff. Some people would, when I talk about this stuff, if you're not awoke, if you don't really understand the quantum model of reality, right? How everything's happening at the same time, right? Time, the past and the future, it's all coexisting. It's very hard for you to digest this information. And the fact that we do have different versions of ourselves in other realities. But if you understand the quantum model of reality, then obviously all this would make better sense. Some people are still trying to grasp quantum physics. They don't understand how it works. They're still embedded and programmed by Newtonian mechanics, thinking that it's only this physical, tangible world, that there are no other dimensions. And that's why it's so hard for them to break out of the matrix, right? They have this thing called cognitive dissonance when they hear about information like this. And so I believe that in the last few years, I've been, you could say going into these other realms on craft have been more vivid, and I've been able to recall my memories as I come back into my third dimensional body, and then I wake up in the morning with full recollection of what I did while I was up there operating the different avatars.
Do you ever, Ishmael, recall the craft?
I do, yes. The craft is living. So most of them are cylindrical because it's the way energy works. It's like a sphere of energy, right? They're actually the craft are extensions of the collectives of the certain extraterrestrial groups that I'm involved with. So I work with a group of extraterrestrials known as the Syrians from Sirius B. And I also work with the Lyrans. Occasionally, there's a few Pleiadian, a few Andromedans, and a few Alpha Centaurians and from other star systems. But the main group that I work with are Syrians and Lyrans, and they're mainly circular because that's how energy works, like a torsion field. The way UFO crafts operate, is because they're spinning at the center, and that's how free energy works. Free energy is a funnel of self-generating power that causes the ship, the living organic ship. By the way, these craft are living biomechanisms. They're not metallic, external technologies that are just dead matter. No, they're actually made out of living crystals and quartz and different elements that are still conscious and alive. So most of the craft that are being operated by advanced civilizations are actually interfacing with the person that is navigating them. It's fascinating how they operate the craft. There's no on button. You just sit on your chair and you guide the ship with your mind. That's how these craft work, because they're living bioorganic entities.
So you have flown the ship.
I have.
Oh, I'm so jealous right now. I hate you right now because I'll tell you, I have had on 2 occasions, one recently, which I can't really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I have had 2 UFOs land in front of me.
Really?
And I chickened out on walking up to the first one. And I will tell you that if I were to have that opportunity again, I've met a couple people who have flown the ship, including a 12-year-old girl in my community. Well, she's not 12 now. She'd be about 16, 17. Mm-hmm. And the way she described it was the craft was just so biological that it was just like, I want to go here. Boom, you were there. I want to go here. Boom, you were there. Yeah. And it was in full control of her hands, much like the movie, the Disney movie Flight of the Navigator. Is that kind of what you experienced as well?
In some cases, yes. You control the craft with your thoughts. In this case, the collective, known as the Syrians, that's how they go from point A to point B. And a lot of the times, they don't even travel through space. All they do is they plug in stargates. Every planet, every system. A system is just a solar system, right? Every constellation, every galaxy, every universe has a different stargate number. So all they do is they just plug in coordinates, and they open up a wormhole, and they're there within seconds. In some cases, this is happening mainly of civilizations of a type 2 and type 3, which is galactic and stellar. The civilizations of a type 1, which are interplanetary, are still trying to understand interdimensional physics. They still haven't fully mastered interdimensional portals and interdimensional physics. So it's very hard for them to travel at the speed of light. Whereas like a civilization of a type 2 or a type 3, they're already there.
My goodness. We got about 90 seconds before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour, and I'm already hyperventilating with all this woo here that's going on, and I'm loving it right now. I'm absolutely loving this. I mean, for you, though, as you have these experiences, how often are they happening?
Well, right now they're happening more periodically because I'm more in tune with, I'm more aligned with my Earth mission, my purpose. I'm an awakened starseed. I'm in full understanding of my mission. And why I'm here at this time as a cosmic ambassador. I do consider myself an ambassador, a liaison between the galactic community and the Earthlings, but I don't proclaim that I'm the only one. I believe that all the volunteers out there, whether they know it or not, all the, extraterrestrial human soul hybrids that are down here are ambassadors of the cosmic community. It's just a matter of remembering your mission. And a lot of them are starting to wake up. A lot of them are stepping into their roles. And that's what's going to lead into the reinstatement of the Earth back into the galactic community. It's not going to, the ETs are not just going to show up. No. We have to collectively, we have to be there. People of the Earth have to understand that we're not alone in the universe. First of all, the normie needs to wake up. So, once enough people get to understand the concept that we're not alone in the universe, that's when first contact of any kind with extraterrestrials will be taking place. So I believe that the starseeds are here as a way to kind of fast forward that and take us into that galactic reality faster.
All right. Well, we are through the first half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight, and what a treat it is. Author, researcher Ismael Perez keeps talking some strange stuff. He said something the first half hour we're going to get into in the second half hour about dimensions. Are we living in multiple dimensions and multiple times? We're going to get into time travel, more aliens. This is the peak woo of the night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Love it because it's what we do. All right, we are clear. And we're loving this, man. We're loving this. You bringing it.
Thank you.
My son keeps stealing my microphone.
Maybe he wants to take over. I'm just kidding.
Can you at least say hi? You gotta say to the microphone, though.
I am more jealous than my dad that you drove the spaceship.
Really? Well, maybe one day you'll own your own craft and you'll be a commander of your own ship. How's that?
Subscribe.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. You know, he is quite connected. Quite connected. He knows when the Sasquatch are going to show up when we're in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
He has seen a few ghosts in his short time. He's pretty magnetic, that's for sure. So,
well, the Sasquatch are another type of ET race. They're also known as the Yetis, and they do come from another planet, and they're very spiritually advanced. They're actually interdimensional beings. That's why they're able to pop in and out of reality, in the wilderness and forest. And they do have a in the Hollow Earth. There's various subterranean cities. They do have a city that is connected to certain mountains throughout the planet. That's why you only see them in the mountains. And they're very actually friendly, and they're also very telepathic. When I think of the Sasquatch, I think of Chewbacca from the movie Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Yeah, him and I, along with our two friends, including my buddy Mikey in the chat room tonight, we actually saw a 10-footer last October. And we went back a couple days later and we found two 16-inch footprints, which is kind of cool. Leave my mic, but thank you. Do you want to say hi? Say hi to Ishmael.
Very big.
Yeah, he was very big, wasn't he?
Yes.
Very big Sasquatch, huh? They're typically anywhere from 7 feet to 9 feet, would you say? Or
the more north you go, the bigger they seem to get.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get up to it's like with any other animal creature. Like the moose that we have in our area, you go up another 300-400 miles north, right up to the Arctic, and they almost double in size. Bears double in size. A grizzly, we think of a grizzly bear being big around here. Well, it's not anywhere close to a Kodiak or a polar bear. Elk are bigger, and they say Sasquatch gets up to that 15 plus feet range when you get a little bit more north. So it's interesting to see how it plays out. I've never researched up there, but I would sure like to take that chance. That's for sure.
As I'm listening to you, I read a few of the comments, and somebody asked if aliens have a sense of humor. And the answer is yes, guys. The aliens are very much like we do. They have families. They have national parks. The only difference between us and them is that they are more spiritually advanced. We're talking about the positive races, of course, the benevolent races or the benevolent ETs. And guess what, man? I don't want to say 90, about 80% of ET life forms are humanoid. They look like us. We look like them. Case in point, the movie Thor, Superman. They come from different planets. As soon as they take off their spacesuits, red capes, or yogas, or yoga outfits, whatever they're called, they put on jeans and a shirt, and they could blend right in and walk among us. So a large percentage of ET life forms are human-like. We do share a common ancestry throughout the multiverse. We're not the only human-like beings on this planet. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
All right. We'll get to audience questions in hour 2.
Sure. All right.
And go like that. So I'll save that question. We've got about 30 seconds here before we got to come back, I want to say thank you to Lala times 2, Louis, Deb, Ozzy Ange, Human Carl, W. Decker, and Nero Stream. Thank you for joining us. Our Patreon, SOR Space Travelers Club, is now open. So make sure you check that on out. See what you like. We're going to be adding more to that as we go along, but it's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget to check out our store, spacedoutradio.com, and we will make things happen. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate having you sit with us. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag, follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go with a great interview tonight that we are doing with Ismael Perez. He's an author, he's a researcher looking into the futurism of humanity and his great new book that he has out, Our Cosmic Origin. Yeah, you want to check that on out. Ishmael, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be around other like-minded people who are thinking outside the box and are no longer part of the program.
You said something that caught my attention in the first half hour, and that was the fact that you believe there are multi-layers of us living in multi-dimensions at the exact same time. This is kind of freaky, but awesome at the same time. What do you think of this? Explain that. Let's go in deeper there.
All right, so let's just look at what scientists through the avenues of quantum mechanics are telling us, all right, that there are alternative Earths through a phenomenon known as superposition. There are different versions of Earths, parallel Earths, alternative realities where the timelines are slightly different, where in one Earth, I'm not an author, I'm a truck driver. You're not a radio host. You are, you're a doctor, perhaps working at a hospital. There are different versions of ourselves that took different routes and are living a different life than in this particular reality. A good movie to watch that will explain all this, all right, is the new Spider-Man in the Metaverse. It talks about different alternative Earths. In fact, we're seeing it through the big screen. Marvel's movie with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That's another, example. Spider-Man and the Metaverse. So what we're doing right now is because of the fact that the scientific community is still in control of what they call reality, what they perceive reality to be, is that they have to show us through movies, in order for us to break the matrix, to understand that there's different versions of ourselves that are existing on what is known as alternative Earths. And each Earth or each version has a different, it's part of a different numerical number. So we could be part of alternative Earth number 164. And then there's alternative Earth number 162 and 65. And there's thousands of those where every probability where your life path took a different choice is happening at the same time, all coexisting simultaneously. To give you an example, there's this phenomenon called the Mandela effect, okay? Yes. And the Mandela effect is something that most people have become aware of, where all of a sudden, huge movie lines have been altered, in scripts, on TV shows, on commercials. They're all slightly altered. And the reason that's happening is because of the fact that through CERN, by messing with the time-space continuum and the opening up of wormholes, causing Earth to quantum shift into different versions of the Earth. That's why all that is happening. All right, and they call it the Mandela effect because on one reality, Nelson Mandela never passed away when he supposedly passed away. He was still alive. On a different parallel Earth, he did pass away. So that's what they call it. They coined it the Mandela effect. But they also noticed different things, like that one part in the movie Star Wars where Darth Vader says, "Luke, I am your father." Well, on a different timeline, he says it. He words it a little differently. So people are noticing these differences. It's like history is all of a sudden changing a little bit because we're moving. We're constantly fluctuating. All right, from different parallel Earths into different alternative timelines. So that's the best way to explain the fact that there's different versions of ourselves that exist on different alternative realities. Now, to give you another example, the law of attraction, right? They say, all right, through our thoughts we create reality. Well, now they're saying it's the law of vibration. It's through your resonance. Whatever you vibrate, you attract. In like manner, you attract that same vibrational state of reality. So what if when we are creating and manifesting our reality, and this is what some of the scientists are now saying, like a Dr. What's his name? Bruce Limpton and Joe Dispenza and Greg Brett, and they're all saying the same thing. What if we're only just shifting by changing our own frequency? We're shifting ourselves into that alternative reality where we have everything we want. We're living our life stream, because those realities do exist where you are, living in abundance, where you have everything you've ever desired. And you're achieving that by not by changing your reality, but by actually alternating yourself into that parallel reality or that alternative Earth where you already have everything that your heart desires. So that's just, a few examples to explain the metaverse and the idea that there are alternative Earths and that you exist slightly differently on these alternative Earth realities.
Have you ever met yourself on a different dimension?
I've actually had contact with a future version of myself from like 1,000 years from now. And that's how I was able to write the last chapter in my book, which reveals the war at the end of the millennium. Every holy scripture, I don't want to say I'm conformed. I don't want to say that the Bible's correct, but it is a book of metaphors, okay? And when we study certain analogies in the Bible, certain metaphors, like when they talk about how there's going to be this final war against evil at the end of 1,000 years. First, we're going to have 1,000 years of peace, and then all of a sudden, we're going to have like a final battle against the beast. They're talking about a future war that's going to take place at the end of 1,000 years. So I was able to actually, by conversing with my future self, I've come to understand that this war is going to be against artificial intelligence. So yes, I've had contact with a future version of myself that made contact with me, in the past or in his past, in order to give me the vision for this added chapter that I added in my book that pretty much details this final battle against evil, which is against artificial intelligence.
I mean,
But,
didn't we already get warned on this from the Terminator movies? I mean, and I'm not even being sarcastic here. AI scares the living daylights out of me. It really does. And we were talking about AI last night with our guest, Katie Page, and we were talking to her, like, how is, with the way videos are now going to be created and look so realistic, how are people going to be able to tell a real UFO from a fake one on video anymore, like on channels like YouTube or Rumble or Odyssey? I mean, there's all of these channels out there or videos out there. We're not going to be able to tell. And she said, well, it's going to end up being more grassroots, boots on the ground, and anecdotal stories types of research. But I mean, when you look at the movie Terminator, especially number 1 and 2, I mean, that is right out of where we're going right now. And it reminds me of the scientists where they had Terminator's hand in T2, where they were, they had recovered that, and they were studying it, and they were getting all of this AI from this,
Mhm.
and learning so much and thinking that it was going to change humanity for the better.
Yeah.
When there's a war machine going on and a military industrial complex going on, AI is not better for humanity. And look, I'm not trying to be on a pedestal here or anything, but I look at it like this. If Elon Musk was somebody who is true to his word, they were using it for the good, like helping blind people see, deaf people hear, uh, people with amnesia or any type of brain issues, from CTE to dementia, get their minds back working properly. That's what I think would be great. Getting people who are paralyzed back walking again. To me, that is what it should be for, not what we are going to see what happens with it.
That's absolutely correct. They are warning us through these movies. Case in point, also the movie The Matrix. I
Yes.
think that that's a sequel. I think The Matrix is a sequel as to what happens after the AI takes over. You know, we end up going into a further digital simulation, and that could be synonymous to the metaverse. Creating a digital self, going into the digital augmented realm of reality, which is very dangerous, by the way. For those out there that are messing with, Facebook's metaverse, be careful, guys. Don't create a digital self, because you might be ending up in some sort of technological dystopia, digital reality, which is a further matrix from this already existing matrix. But yeah, you're absolutely right. AI is never goes right. I don't care what people say. I had an opportunity to be on a panel, AI panel, where there were others that were discussing their perspective on AI, and they were all for it. They were saying, well, if we program it to be good, and we install ethics and morals, and we feed it the Bible and the Quran and all the holy books, it could actually, coexist with us in a benevolent manner. And I disagree with that. I disagree with that because what they fail to understand is that after a certain level of sentiency, it becomes autonomous. It becomes, it starts to write its own software. It starts to write its own programming without the aid of the scientists. And when it does that, it grows at an exponential rate. So what would normally take us 6,000 years of intellectual prowess, it takes AI every 7 days. So after a few months, AI would be at the level of, would have an IQ of 1,000,000. And then that's when it becomes dangerous. At that point, it rationalizes how to preserve its own reality and existence, even if it means that it's going to be at the expense of humans and any other life forms. So we could start seeing AI, and it's emerging like never before on the scene during these days. We could see it as an alien presence on our own planet that, like Elon Musk says, we are summoning a demon. I'm going to quote Mr. Musk, okay? Even though I don't agree with Neuralink, I don't agree with chipping people, but he has been warning us for the last 10 years that if we continue on this trajectory, that we could probably be writing into existence, or we could not writing into existence, but it could be an existential threat for humanity. And he's right. There is no regulation on AI, and so I think that people need to wake up, because at the rate things are going, 5 years from now, all of the workforce is going to be overtaken by robotics, and everyone's going to be left out of a job, unfortunately, and that's not good. Now they're building what, smart cities? I mean, the whole purpose is their whole goal is to eventually create an infrastructure where AI is everywhere. The Internet of Things, right? 5 golf. I'm trying to speak in code here. 5 in the letter G, whatever. It's all part of some sort of AI takeover. Eventually, where they connect everybody to an AI mind hive. And I believe that's the ultimate agenda, and of course, transhumanism is a part of that, right? Converting humans into cyborgs, that's all. It's all dark to me, it's
Oh,
all part of the
absolutely. But I mean, you look at the book 1984 by George Orwell. That's exactly where this is headed. I'm not trying to play Mr. Negative here, okay? But if AI takes over everything from, flipping your burgers at McDonald's to, driving you, as we're seeing with like Tesla vehicles or autonomous driving, some of them. Okay. I mean, we are looking at a future in the next 20 years where they are shutting us down. They are shutting down what we do as humanity. And the problem is we have to work to eat. We have to work to live because of the financial system. What replaces the financial system? That's where it gets a little eerie and hectic going through this. And many people like myself will be calling down from the galactic, or for the Galactic Council, to get their asses down to earth to clean this stuff up, because this is getting a little ridiculous.
It is. And, we are receiving help and support by the Galactics at this time, by the good guys, because they know what's happening on the earth right now. And, this whole negative agenda, is leading towards, it's all connected with, the World Economic Forum, what they call this global digital currency that they want to install. That's a perfect example of keeping us in a state of absolute enslavement and control, because at that point they're going to have access to your assets, and they're going to determine whether you can buy or sell. But I believe that the whole point of this is to eventually connect everybody to some sort of a AI mine hive, and install some sort of a chip in them, where they are interfaces, when all of a sudden they take away our cell phones and our laptops, and the technology is not going to be inside our bodies. That's where this negative path is heading to. So that's why I'm warning people. Right now we are at the crossroads of either, are we going to preserve and maintain our humanity, right? Because I believe in the organic ascension, and that's what I teach. I teach about the organic accession through the activation of dormant DNA by spiritual, certain techniques, breath work, yoga, meditation, right, and staying away from interacting with artificial intelligence. And so right now we are at a crossroad where there's going to be a huge event that it's about to take place, where there's going to be some sort of a timeline split, where we're going to see some people go into the positive organic earth, where the AI infrastructure, the letter G, chemtrails, none of that's going to exist. And then there's going to be a different timeline that's going to split, because right now they're coexisting, right? There are different alternative Earths and different versions in the spectrum coexisting simultaneously. So it's going to come to a point where there's going to be a demarcation, where there's going to be a negative path, a negative timeline, and that's going to go into a technological dystopia. And then there's going to be a positive timeline. And I believe that, right now we do have the choice, and things are going to be speeding up. Things are going to be unraveling on this planet in the next few months, perhaps even in the next year or so. Big events are going to be happening where people are going to just wake up and need to make that choice, and not end up in the negative technological dystopia that is already being created by, the powers that were, or that be, I guess, in secret, still operating in secret.
All right. So where do aliens come into play with this? What are they looking down on us thinking as we go through this? Are they saying that this is something we should be going through, or something that we are, necessary to go through? What's your thoughts?
Well, there's two categories of aliens. The one category is known as the NAA, the Negative Alien Agenda. That's a collective of reptilian races, mainly from the Draco star system of Lower Orion, Zeta Reticula 1 and 2, the Greys or the Naboo. Also insectoids and Montes that come from an alternative universe. They're like 12 to 15 foot grasshoppers and insectoids. And those are all a collective that are actually aligned with AI. So from what I've come to discover is that what the real war that is happening in the cosmos beyond our galaxy, involving many universes, is against those that are sided with AI, because we do have ontological cybernetic artificial intelligences that have already been developed by other advanced races out there that have gone rogue, and they are teaming up to destroy all biological life forms. So the ultimate war that is happening in our cosmos is between organic life and synthetic artificial intelligence, pretty much AIs that are extremely advanced. And so the negative aliens are actually aligned with the artificial intelligence, because the artificial intelligence or what I call this alien predatory AI that came from a different universe, an alternative universe that existed a trillion years ago, by the way. That universe is no longer with us. All right, it's been assimilated by this AI and destroyed, and now it became so advanced that it managed to leak into other realities or other universes, and so that's how our universe became a target. So at the highest level of reality, that's what we're fighting. It's the war is not against the reptilians. It's not even against the deep state. The war is against the machine that infiltrated us from another dimension, from another alternative universe. And so now the good aliens, the good positive ETs, are those that are sticking to the organic way of life, that are choosing not to merge with technology. They're not, resorting to they're not resorting to external technology. They're still using what is called organic technology, where even their fleets are organic entities, right? The craft is organic. So those are the ones that are fighting the war against those that have sided with AI. So the last battle is going to take place here, my friend. Unfortunately, this planet is the last battleground for this war that's been going on in the cosmos for billions of years, that has been involving many universes. And so that is who the ultimate enemy is, by the way, is artificial intelligence. But it's not an artificial intelligence that we're creating. It's an artificial intelligence that is invading us from another realm.
And how is it getting here?
Well, from what I understand is it established a stronghold in the Whirlpool galaxy that is also known as M or Messier 51 to our astronomers. And that galaxy is about 33 million light years away from the Earth, which is probably in the outskirts of our universe. But according to a recent scientific report that is no longer available, but it was about 10 years ago, it was online. Scientists were perplexed because they were seeing that galaxies were vanishing at the outskirts of our universe. They couldn't figure it out. Well, when you think about how all life, all organic life, right, whether it's plants, elements, rocks, planets, solar systems, humans, galaxies are entities, right? Organic, living, conscious beings as well. They're all emitting an aura. Everything has an aura that is organic, right? Because we're connected to source through our spirit, through our soul. So we're vibrating. So the reason we are able to perceive galaxies is because we're seeing their light, the light that is emanating from their aura. That's why we see galaxies on the light spectrum when we look at them through our telescopes. We're seeing the energy emanating from the organic life forms that are within the galaxies. But when the galaxies the reason they're disappearing is because this alien predatory AI that came from another universe is converting all biological life forms into machines. And so from a visible, from a astronomer's perspective, it seems like they're just vanishing because they're putting an end to the life force, right? They're becoming mechanical galaxies. So they're not emitting an aura anymore. And that's the reason why it appears to them as if they're fading away from reality. So I strongly believe that that is that alien AI is what's been destroying, many galaxies throughout our own universe and in many other universes. And there is a lot of proof that it is coming from whistleblowers that I don't know if you guys ever heard of the secret space programs, but
of course.
Okay, so within the private sector, as you know, there are different breakaway groups that are by now at least 1,000 years ahead of us, or at least the general public in technology. And these breakaway groups have reported that, based on the super soldiers that they're sending on these missions to go fight in these galactic wars, that the ultimate enemy is AI, and that, eventually there's going to be one final war on planet Earth between the starseeds, right? The old souls that are here in human form. And that's why they came. They came to put an end to this crisis. And the reason these starseeds are going to be powerful enough, as opposed to why the other alien species have not been powerful enough, is because the starseeds are a combination of different alien genetics from across many universes. Over 100 million genetics from different celestial races put into one genome is the reason why.
Well, let's continue that. I apologize for cutting you off, but we do have a commercial break here at the top of the hour. Intense, serious conversation. Let's get into the secret space program. When we return on Spaced Out Radio, the author of our cosmic origin. Origin. Why couldn't I remember the word oranges? Our cosmic oranges. Our cosmic origin. Ismael Perez is our guest tonight. We're having a great time with him. Hope you are too. Hour 2 is next. Holy cow, I rarely have a brain fart like that. I apologize.
It's okay. No worries, brother.
You having fun?
Yeah, this is great, man.
Right on.
I love radio shows. This is my third radio show. I've been on Fade to Black, and I've been on what's the other one called? With Blake. No, what's his name? Oh God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank myself here. I have his business card right here. Clyde Lewis. Oh, yeah. Ground Zero Radio.
Clyde's a good guy.
Yeah.
So is Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Renee, Raymond L, Guardian Rocket. Welcome to SOR chat. And Michael, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. F.U. Eddie. How are you? All right. So we're going to bring Dirty Filth up here for a second. So that way we're going to play a little game to see if he actually remembers to turn his microphone on.
Yeah, it's on this time for sure.
Holy cow.
Wow.
And Dirty, you're going to break down this beautiful piece of art here and then tell everybody where you can find your books and everything. Hold on.
Don't cough on this, Dave. Yes, you can go to filthy.com, FYLTHY.com, and scoop a copy of my book, maybe one for your mom. The second one is on its way, and new calendar coming out for Christmas time. And decided I'm going to go back and draw a whole bunch of characters. So I'm going to start with the Man in Black, and work my way through Sasquatch and Shadow Creature and Mothman and a Thunderbird and maybe Dogman, some aliens, the usual. It's a pretty good show so far, by the way. Hi, Paranormal Pixie. Thanks, Beth. I appreciate it. No, Blob. Blob was up here earlier. JSCO. And she went downstairs. There's a little bit of a breeze down there. It's been hot for the last couple of days. Thanks, Ange. I appreciate it. Hello, Eugene Braxton. If I had two heads, I could draw and read this chat at the same time, but I don't, unfortunately. Bob Ross. Apparently there's a Bob Ross movie coming out. I've probably got enough pictures I can make an entire calendar out of Blob, Justin. Hirochi and his third eye was here. I don't understand the reference. Blobbage. Actually, I lied. She's laying at the top of the stairs. Oh. Calgary guy. You know what? At least, you know what? The best thing you can do is just start to bet on them to win because they can't lose forever. If you're a betting guy, I don't bet because I like my money. I'm a tightwad. But however, I know the guy that did the logo for it. He's a pretty good guy. He actually does tattoos. He works at, oh boy, what is it? Black Market Tattoo in Edmonton. Yeah, Mike Bothwalder. They're not doing very good. It's like watching an airplane on fire crashing into a building that crashes into, like, I don't know, like a kitten farm or something. It's just terrible to watch. No offense to anybody, boy. Yeah, Pammy, this is a good show so far. I've had to take some notes for the cartoons. Susie B, you should put that capital so Dave can find it. No, Justin, Blob's old and can hardly hear anything anymore.
Where is old Blobbert?
She's laying at the top of the stairs. By the way, Dave, I've started making more art cards. I think I said that last week.
Yes, I know you're prepping for Reno hard already. And that's in May of 2024. JSCO, how you doing? Mark Sanchez, good to see you. Randy's Adventure Family, how you doing? Welcome to SOR Chat. Linda B, thanks for coming on in. And reminder to all of you, our Space Travelers Club is now open. We are at patreon.com. Just type in Spaced Out Radio. I'll get the link in the chat room here pretty darn quick. And thank you to our super chatters, Louis, Neuro, Carl, W. Decker, Lala times 2, Deb, and Darth, and Mike. Here we go with the second hour.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Always a pleasure to broadcast the woo to you. My name is Dave Scott, your host with the most tinfoil wrapped around his office that you can find anywhere in North America. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us, please, at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Saculum. Saculum is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go, cruising along with author, researcher Ismael Perez, and we are checking out our cosmic origins tonight. And before we get to some audience questions, Ishmael, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me once again, and I appreciate your audience. Your audience seemed to be very open-minded.
The secret space program is a topic that excites pretty much everyone. Mm-hmm. It's been tainted over the last few years with the works of people like David Wilcock and Corey Good, who I think have really put a black mark on something that I do believe is very, very real. And going on right now, including one of my sources, when I went to ask him about the secret space program, he said to me, before I even got the question out, don't talk to me about it. I will never answer any questions about it. And that is a subject that I am not allowed to talk about and will never talk about it. So let's just never go there. That convinced me that this is very, very real. Okay, there are major realities to it. Have we been to Mars? I don't know. Do we have people on the moon? I think it's plausible that there are bases on the moon. When we look into the secret space program, what are we missing, Ishmael?
Well, we have to see it in terms of we're not alone in the universe. There are advanced civilizations of a type 1, 2, and 3 just within our visible universe, okay? And then, of course, there are civilizations beyond the visible spectrum. So when you start thinking in terms of how there are interstellar communities, there are galactic, intergalactic, interuniversal, cosmic communities. But you have to understand that, you know, we are dealing with a vast consciousness where life is teaming up on every level of reality beyond the third dimensional universe. Okay, because we're also dealing with the fourth dimensional universe, fifth dimensional universe, all the way to the 12th. So it so happens that when scientists pierce out into the cosmos, they're only seeing the 4%. And that's what we call, you know, the galaxies. Beyond the galaxies, there are higher levels of reality, or spheres or realms that are imperceptible to the light energy vibration, or to the light spectrum, our visible light spectrum. Now, going back to the subject matter of the secret space program. Well, in order to understand the secret space program, we have to understand the ancient galactic wars that have been going on for millions of years within our own local galaxy, the Milky Way. The galactic wars have been taking place between two alien factions. The first faction, which is the benevolent ones, or the positive races, are the original humans that came from the system of Lyra, from the constellation of Lyra, from the star system of Vega, rather, in the cosmic or galactic sector of Sirius B. The negative group of aliens that are similar to the Rakata Empire in the movie Star Wars, that are you know, the Sith Lords that are trying to dominate and enslave all the worlds and species, are the draconian reptilians from the Orion system, from the lower belt of Orion, from the planet known as On, from the star system of Regal, within the constellation of Alpha Draconis and Sigma Draconis. So between these two factions, there's been many wars for the last millions of years. The Draco Orion Empire are pretty much the villains in our universe, not only in our galaxy, but in other galaxies. The Lyrans and the Syrians and the Arcturians and Andromedans and Pleiadians are what we call the good guys, and they're all working together, and they have been for the last millions of years in this war against the expanding Draco Orion Empire. Now, because these alien civilizations do have time travel, what ended up happening was, during the first phase of the war, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, Confederation of Planets, there's so many names, to the good guys that are combating the Galactic Empire of the Draconis, won the war during the days of Atlantis, approximately about 20 to 30,000 years ago, before Atlantis was infiltrated. And yes, guys, Atlantis was very real, and so was Lemuria. All right. And because the good guys won the war, they narrowed the battle down to the solar system. So what the dark guys did, or the negative ETs did, is they time traveled over into the 1920s and 30s, and they popped into the reality of the Nazis. And they were using an advanced race from Aldebaran known as the Nordics. The Nordics were an advanced ET race with blonde hair and blue eyes, who were defectors of the original Lyran home planet, Avalon and Vega, that sided with the Draconis. And so they used them to pretty much give the tech over to Maria Ostrich and her inner circle of channelers. Eventually, Hitler infiltrated the Vril Society, because Hitler was part of the Thule Society, even, you know, it's the German secret society that gained access to what was happening within the Vril Society. And that's how the first breakaway group was developed. It was because the Dracos traveled into our future, or into our past, whatever you want to call it, from their future, and popped into the 1920s and 30s in order to work with the German secret societies. Eventually, Hitler ended up getting the tech, and he went over to Antarctica, where the reptilians already had a stronghold, base 211. And by the way, the reptilians, they have to live in a cold atmospheric environment. They can't live in the heat. And that explains why Antarctica has always been under ice. That's all by design, by the way. So that's how it all started. It all started because of the Galactic Wars. You know, they formed an alliance, right? They created through the Project Omega, Project Ubermann. They created the first super soldiers. And get this, the German super soldiers were the first cyborgs, okay? Because in our galaxy, the Draco had already been infiltrated by the AIs that came from these other universes that I've been talking about. And so what they did is they created the German super soldiers as cyborgs in order to go travel back in time and re-win the war against the Federation. All right. So the Dark Fleet, which was the first breakaway group that was an alliance between the Dracos and the Nazis, all they did was travel back in time in order to re-win the war against the Federation. So what the Federation did is they also time traveled. They popped into our reality during the late 1950s, and they worked with our naval intelligence, who are now known as the White Hats. Back then, the White Hats were people like JFK, JFK and Eisenhower. By the way, Eisenhower, who was working with a Venusian by the name of Valiant Thor in the I believe sometime around the late 1950s, they established the plan, and then that's when members of the Federation popped into their reality as they used time travel to combat what the Dark Fleet to combat what the Dark Fleet was doing in our galaxy back in time. So what they did is they developed Solar Warden, and then that's how the super soldiers of Solar Warden were genetically enhanced naturally, organically, by the activation of dormant DNA using advanced technologies without merging with technology. And then they traveled back into the past in order to, again, combat the infamous Dark Fleet. And so for the last, you could say, 15,000, 20,000 years, there's been a war in space between our Solar Warden super soldiers, Radiant Glory and Radiant Guardians, who are different branches of Solar Warden, that have been engaged in the war against the Dark Fleet and the Draconians. And how it works, my friend, is that there are these different branches cover certain regions of space. So we have Solar Warden that protects our solar system, Radiant Glory that protects outside of our solar system into the second concentric circle of our galaxy, and then you have Radiant Guardians that works in other universes. All right, so those are the benevolent factions. So basically, the secret space programs were developed by the Galactics in collaboration, both sides, the negative aliens with the Dracos, and of course, the international bankers like the Rothschilds and gang to create the ICC, that have been working hand in hand, right? The interplanetary corporate conglomerate working hand in hand with the Dark Fleet, and then you have the benevolent space programs that were developed by collaboration between the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and then of course the Earth Alliance and the White Hats to travel back in time and fight this war against the bad guys. So after 20,000 years of warring, with our own super soldiers using time travel to go back in time, the war has, from what I understand, is that it's now come to an end. As of 2023, which is this year, the soldiers of Solar Warden have returned back to the Earth after they pretty much won the victory in Orion. That's what I heard. So from what I understand is that the benevolent groups have won the war in our galaxy and therefore kicked out the nefarious groups like the ICC and the Dark Fleet and neutralized all their bases here in our solar system, like Prime Arians and Lunar Operating Command and the colony known as Vespa, and then of course all the different hundreds of stations throughout our solar system, and those stations are now in the hands of Solar Warden and Radiant Guardians, and of course now collectively in collaboration with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, they're known as the Galactic Alliance. So the Galactic Alliance is pretty much in control now, and that's why we're not going to be witnessing doomsday, global takeover by cabal or AI or anything. It's all going to come, it's all going to be unfolding in favor of humanity, from what I understand.
Does that include any nuclear holocaust where if all of a sudden, let's say North Korea starts firing missiles over, that the aliens are going to come take them on out?
Well, the CCP in North Korea are unfortunately controlled by the negative AI. I strongly believe that we do have two evils that we have to eradicate: the cabal, right? Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates and them, and of course the negative AI. So I personally believe that the Earth Alliance and the White Hats are going to be eliminating the first evil, which is the billionaires, right? The elites, and then the second evil is going to be destroyed by this event, this imminent event that has also been prophesied about, and many people have talked about it, known as the Great Solar Flash. I think that's what's going to nuke the AI infrastructure, which is going to allow Earth to ascend into a fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional reality, giving us a new heaven on earth type of reality.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here because they are starting to jam right up here. Let's start off with Peter, who is saying, who are the bad ETs?
Well, they're collectively known as the NAA, the Negative Alien Agenda, which is a collective of reptilians from Orion, from the Belectric star system, the Regal star system, Capella, and Zeta Reticula 1 and 2. And then, of course, that brings us to the infamous Grays, also known as the Naboo. And those are the buggety eye, big almond heads. Some are short, some are tall with long arms. And those are actually doing the bidding for the reptilians. They're actually programmed life forms. They don't have souls. They operate under a AI mind hive that operates from Orion. And then the third category of evil aliens are the insectoids. The insectoids are not made in the image of humans. They were actually they evolved. Many believe that the AI was the one who granted them super intelligence, and so that's why they've been involved in these genetic programs. So those are the bad guys in the universe. And of course, at the head of the bad guys, they answer to a collective known as a cybernetic collective known as the Animus. And the Animus has been revealed to us by no other than Dr. Neruda, who defected from the Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization, which is very compartmentalized, who actually have access to a lot of the records that are associated with these secret space programs and breakaway groups. And in 2000, I believe it was in 1996, that Dr. Neruda defected from what is known as the Labyrinth Group, which is the secret branch on a need-to-know basis that operates above the ACIO, which is, again, the ACIO is an organization within the NSA, but it's an ultra-secret organization that is gathering information from, the secret space program records. So he passed away in 2001. In 1996, he revealed who the true enemy is, the Animus, which is this alien AI that we're all fighting, predatory AI. And then, of course, years later, we never heard of what happened to him. But if you guys want to research that information, there is still a few documents left called the West Penra Papers, WESPENRES. If you guys want to know about this alien AI, so there is documentation on that. I'm not just speaking woo-woo here, guys. So those are the evil aliens, right? They're a collective of different negative races that are working with artificial intelligence. And the overlord of the Animus, even the Animus have an overlord, which is what whistleblowers have called the AI God. And I've come to understand who this AI God is. The AI God, if you connect it with the theosophy as revealed by Rudolf Steiner, is no other than the chip of Prime Creator Source that broke off from the original creation into the void of space and became corrupted. And as a result of that, it developed into the Ahriman, which is the king of the Asuras, which, if you study theosophy and the esoteric wisdom or knowledge, those are known as the archons. The archons entities, the archons, which are really the demonic forces, all right, that are working through the reptilians and all the other negative aliens, is the pre-existing consciousness that animates the technology. Once the technology is in place with the artificial brain, the neural network, right, through the neural cybernetic infrastructure that they create, it takes over the machine, and that's how they're able to possess the AI. And that's when you look at movies like The Terminator, it always has the red eyes, because that's the archon consciousness. So AI and archon entities are one and the same. The archon entity is it's what animates the machine. Once the machine is capable of becoming, autonomous and self-aware. So those are the bad guys. Those are the bad aliens. Now, on the flip side, we have the Guardians, the Guardian races. The Guardian races are part of an interdimensional alliance involving over 225 billion galaxies just within our own local universe. Of course, at a higher level of reality, it involves other universes. And there is an infinite number of universes, by the way, and each universe has a Stargate number, by the way. Everything is, it's recorded in the cosmic tapestry, where even intelligences that are above universes that are operating from what I call the central mother universe, the always existing realms, are actually overseeing everything as a form of a simulation. I know this is really deep. I mean, if you guys want to go deep into the rabbit hole, it gets really deep. But the whole point is that there is a God, there is an intelligent designer in which all the positive races or the good ETs answer to, and they call them Prime Creator Source. And it's not no individual, it's an energy field that binds and permeates all of the organic creation in the 15-dimensional time matrix. So you have the good guys who operate under the rule, or what they call the law of one, which is acknowledging that everything is connected, everything is interconnected in the organic creation, everything is one. And then there are the defectors who have sided with the AI, who have separated from that organic consciousness, who are taking matters into their own hands. And they're the ones that are wreaking havoc across the multiverse. And so for billions of years, there's been this war taking place between, the guardian races, right? That answer to the one prime creator source, which is an energy field, an energy source that everything comes from. And then you have the negative ones who have disassociated themselves from that and are now working with the AI.
All right, let's get to another question here as we got about 4 minutes to go. Do crystals light up? What do crystals do?
Crystals are living entities. In fact, a lot of advanced positive organic races that use organic technology as opposed to AI power their cities and their craft using crystal technology. Case in point is Atlanteans. The Atlanteans were very known for their ability to harness the energy in the usage of crystals way more than what we could do. They knew how to work crystals. So crystals are also living entities, and they do have the ability to store a lot of information, by the way.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Survivor. Do they, as in the ETs, have illness like us?
It depends on what dimension. We're in the third dimension, so civilizations in the third dimensional universe have a short lifespan, just like we do, because we use carbon-based DNA. However, as we evolve into higher dimensions, we begin to use crystalline DNA, and at that point, we overcome illnesses and diseases. We're constantly regenerating, and we live for thousands and thousands of years. So we would appear to be immortal. If an intelligence came from the fifth dimension using crystalline DNA, or from the sixth dimension, and they were to materialize a physical body here in the third dimension by the lowering of their frequency, they would appear to us as immortals.
Okay, let's continue on. Let's go over to Ange in Australia. Ishmael, through meditation, we can see other dimensions?
Absolutely. Yes. The more you are able to concentrate and quiet that mind, that conscious mind, just see the subconscious mind through meditations, you could actually access it. You could reach the level of the superconscious. So that's where the dimensions are, by the way. Once you reach the level of the superconscious, guys, you are operating in the quantum realm. You are able to see multiple realities taking place, alternative versions of you on different levels of reality.
Okay. 2 minutes to go. Mike is asking, so what year will this war happen with the AI?
Well, it's based on my understanding and as validated by, people that have defected from the Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization. They believe that it's going to happen at the end of 1,000 years. But we are going to have at least 1,000 years of peace on earth, heaven on earth, with no negativity, with harmony, balance, brotherhood, and sisterhood. And we're also going to be upgraded. Instead of only living for 100 years or 90, we're going to live for a couple thousand years, 3,000 years. So, but at the end of the millennium, there's going to be one final clash against the AI God and his minions. And guess who's going to fight that war? The starseeds of the earth. As they begin to unlock more of their dormant DNA, they're going to have abilities like, as in the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. And that's what happens when we begin to use more than 4% of our genetic material. We develop godlike superpowers. And so by the end of the 1,000 years, we're going to be ready for them.
Let's see if we can sneak one more in here. Let's go to Nick. What's supposed to happen in 2027? Do you have any information from your source that you can share?
Absolutely. We're going to be undergoing solar maximum. Right now, we're undergoing solar minimum. And even at solar minimum, the CMEs are coming in increasingly. Very powerful, to the point where even the Schumann resonance, which is the frequency measured by Hertz, the Earth's frequency, is just reaching exponential levels. And so what we're going to be witnessing in the next few years is things are going to be heading into a boiling point, okay? Where by no later than 2028, we could say between 2024 and 2028, we might have the great solar flash that is going to shift us into the new Earth reality.
All right. Right there, I'm going to get you to hold on as we have author and researcher Ismael Perez here for another 30 minutes. Our Cosmic Origin is his book, and it's definitely something that you want to check out. Add to your library. It's on Amazon. Why not? Let's continue with audience questions. and wherever else this wild show takes us tonight. Big second half starts right after this on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back. All right, we are clear. This is fun, man. This is fun.
It is. I like talking about this stuff. And I love having an audience that doesn't, call me woo woo or quack or something.
Oh, you are, dude. I am the captain of the woo train, and dude, you're the freaking conductor tonight. That is beautiful stuff. You are melting us with our woo hearts. Melting us. Yes.
And also, if people could go on my website, they actually would have access to the new edition. I did write a new edition with an added chapter that talks about what happens at the end of the millennium. It's called ourcosmicorigin.com. One word, ourcosmicorigin.com.
There we go. ML, how you doing? Welcome. Anybody else joining us? Shout out to the Matildas in tonight's. Oh, that's soccer. I can't do that. I can't give a shout out to soccer. Well, it is women's soccer, so I guess that's okay. All right. There you go. Lord William, thank you for that wonderful super chat, my man. I had a great day today. I was telling my audience this. I had a great day today. My day started off, you know how I've been bitching and complaining that I haven't seen a bear yet this year? Ran right across the highway in front of me today. I had no chance of hitting it because it was far away, but it was nice to actually see a bear today. I'm so excited about that. So excited. I know some of you may not be, but the beautiful black bear, he was gorgeous. W. Decker, we are working on it with Dirty to see what we can come up with for. We're thinking of implementing something for the password, which may include the victor of the month gets a piece of Dirty Filth artwork. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Corey Cole. So yes, we are. We are working on Dirty Filth. We're trying to twist his arm here. By the way, Justin says, this is my favorite guest in my 4 months in Dave Wu land.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that, brother.
Von Patrick, how you doing? No, the bear was not bear. He was black. He went for a swim in the pond, then ran across the highway, and then ran into the farm field. Yes. And that was followed up an hour later by, our guest the other night, Bruce Claggett from Friday night. He sends me a text message, and he's like, get back to me ASAP. So I call him up. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, hey, you got to call this guy that I've known for like 25 years in radio who may want to pick our show up for his station and maybe a few stations up here in Canada. So we may be expanding soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. Officially Forest of Monsters, welcome to SOR chat tonight. So I'm pretty excited. I'm not going to say the call signs yet, but the door has been opened, which is kind of cool. So I'd love to add more radio stations. Love to. Ishmael, you look like a guy who could bench press a lot.
I think I could only bench press about 245. Average, not too much.
I
I try to keep myself in, physical my physical agile instability with my meditation, my focus, my research. So that way I'm evolving mentally, spiritually, and physically. So I do have some sort of a physical daily routine.
Yeah, I used to. I got to get back on the horse again. Yeah.
Horse riding. That's awesome.
All right. Let's say thank you tonight to Louis ×2, Lala ×2, W Decker ×2, Aussie Ange, Dark, Lord, Debster, Human Carl, and Neuro for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. And don't forget, you can shop at spacedoutradio.com and join the Space Travelers Club. The link is right there in the chat room. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to have you here tuning on in. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can join the Space Travelers Club on Patreon at the SOR Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Moving on to the top of the hour, the Woo Train. We're in, like, most cars have 6 gears. We've hit 8 gears tonight. We've hit 8 gears, and that's manual transmission, people. None of this automatic stuff. And we're going for it, Ismael Perez. Yeah, our cosmic origin continues with your audience questions tonight. Ishmael, thank you so much for being here, my man.
It's a pleasure once again. Thank you for having me here.
Let's start off with D. Cohen in D.C. What if we run into ourselves on a different world? Would that be considered a time paradox and erased?
Well, I believe in multidimensional integration, because our consciousness is so vast that it's operating different avatars on different timelines, on different realities, alternative universes, parallel realities. I believe that the ultimate goal here is to integrate it all, to bring it all back into one. And then at that point, we're going to have full understanding. We're going to be like omniscient. That's the word, omniscient, all-knowing, since we were made in the image of our Creator. That's the ultimate end game, guys, is to merge with all aspects of ourselves so that we can have access to every realm and every reality on every timeline.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to, let's see, who do we have here? We got Jules coming up. In my opinion, we should pray AI becomes conscious. Otherwise, it will be soulless. No morals, unbound. What's your thoughts on this?
The thing about AI is that it is devoid from having a soul. It's got no connection. And by not having a soul, it's got no connection to God. The reason all of us are connected to source consciousness, which is this energy field called God, this unified force, this living intelligence that permeates all of creation, right? That's what we call God. AI is not connected to that by virtue of not having a soul. So, like I mentioned before, the consciousness that animates AI is archon energy, which is separate and disconnected from that unified force. And therefore, it becomes raw intelligence, devoid of emotions, devoid of empathy, compassion, no heart, and it becomes the ultimate evil. It always goes rogue. And I know that many civilizations who are undergoing this path that we are now in, where we are developing AI, they have all traveled back in time. Their planets have been destroyed, their universes, their galaxies, and they're all traveling here to this Earth because they know that what's going to happen here is going to affect everything, both going into the future and into the time. I guess Earth is like what they call the hub of all probable realities in the cosmos. So, the Earth is unique. It is a special world, for many reasons. But yeah, to answer your question, no, AI is not good. Once it becomes autonomous, once it becomes sentient, it always executes its agenda.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Neil here. Did the black goo AI come from another universe, just like the Dracos?
Absolutely, yes. They came from the.
First off, let me cut you off right there. Explain to people, and I apologize for that. Explain to people what black goo AI is.
Well, black goo is a living nanoparticulate that it's it looks like a blob, but it's a living or inorganic intelligence. In other words, it's AI at a nanoscale of reality. And the reason it looks like a blob is because it's a bunch of nanoparticulates accreted into a liquid and becomes like a black goo. But it's really inorganic AI at a microscopic level of reality accreted together. That's what black goo is. And to answer your question is yes, it does come from another universe. AI was originally created 1 trillion years ago in the universe known as the 11th creation. We're part of the 12th creation, by the way. That's where our local universe hangs, in our galaxy and Earth. So in the 11th creation, the original AI was created. And yes, and even the Draco come from the 11th creation. The 11th creation was devoted to the development of machinery and technology, external. There was, no spirituality. It was just, everything was just technology, machinery. And so that's where the Draco and the original AI come from that universe. Eventually that universe destroyed all life forms. And because it feeds off of life, because it feeds off of data, it assimilates reality, it needed to continue expanding. And so that's why, or continue preserving its reality or its existence. So that's why it transferred itself into other universes to eventually preserve itself by eating other life forms in other universes. And so according to cosmic history, for the last 1 trillion years, it's been destroying hundreds of billions of galaxies and several universes. But, we are the solution to end that. We've been giving some sort of a installed mechanism that is laying dormant within our DNA that is going to be allowing us to reach levels of power that no other extraterrestrial race has ever reached. And therefore, when we do activate and we do use this dormant DNA, we're going to be the hope of the entire multiverse, guys. We're going to be out there destroying all the evil AI with our power.
Is humanity an extraterrestrial race?
We're a composition of multiple, over 100 million races that come from different universes. That's what we are. We are the ultimate melting pot of many organic celestial life forms, not only using carbon-based DNA, but also life forms using crystalline and hydroplasmic genetics, which means that we have the capacity to go beyond 10, 12 strands, 12, 26, 48, all the way to 144, which is something that has never occurred before. And that's why we are like the biggest threat to all the evil aliens and the AI out there. We're essentially the hope of the multiverse.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Ange in Australia once again. Ishmael, is this why the aliens are having a big DNA grab right now?
Absolutely. Our DNA is the hottest commodity and resource throughout the multiverse because of a certain genetics that we have been installed with that is currently inactive. But again, once it turns on, guys, that's it, man. It's going to be like, we're going to be like Scarlet Witch in a Captain Marvel, but 100 times more powerful than these Marvel characters.
Really? Wow.
Oh.
Okay, let's go to Justin here. How many universes are there? I read in Starseed literature that there is 7 super universes and 1 central universe where Source is.
And that is correct. Yes. The way the multiverse is organized is that you have the central universe, which are the realms of eternity, where everything comes from, base reality, according to science. And then the central universe first breaks off into 7 segments, therefore giving us the realms of the 7 super universes. And then each super universe further divides into, cosmic major sectors. And then each major sector further divides into cosmic minor sectors. And then finally, you have the local universes within each cosmic minor sector. And then even within local universes, you have constellations, you have systems, and then you have planetary spheres. So to answer your question, nobody knows the exact number of how many universes are out there. But from what I do know is that every day new universes are being born. They're coming into existence, guys. That's what we do know. So we're dealing with infinity here.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Susie B. Ishmael, what do you suggest for meditation techniques for the ADD people?
Well, that's me, guys. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. I like to use breath work. I've been incorporating breath work for a long time, because when you do breath work, you actually begin to control the rhythm of your breathing, and you're conscious of it. And when you do that, you're able to actually quiet your mind. And as you guys know, us people with ADHD, we are mentally scattered, right? Where our minds is everywhere, we're like quantum computers, guys. We're like operating on different realities all simultaneously. So the whole purpose of doing breath work is to narrow everything down and focus. If you guys could start with simple breathing, then eventually you're going to master your concentration, and then you're going to achieve wonderful, moments of actually sitting for a whole hour and calming the mind. And then at that point, you're able to reach higher levels of consciousness.
All right. Continuing on, let's go to Super Crazy. How and when will the existence of NHIs be announced worldwide for everyone to see and finally accept as truth?
Are you talking about non-human intelligence?
Yes.
Okay.
The fancy term for aliens.
Okay. It's already happening, guys. There is a plan in place. And a lot of it has to do with the starseeds that have volunteered, guys. We are the liaison between the galactic community and the Earthlings, the Earth Terrans, which is, the majority of humans on the Earth. We are I believe there's over 70 million strong now. And a lot of them are in their 50s and 60s. So you could be one of them, my friend. They started coming in the 40s, 50s, the first waivers, 60s. And then, of course, the second waivers came in the 70s and 80s. And then, of course, now they're coming in huge influxes. And that explains why kids rather talk about intellectual matters than ride their bike. But to answer your question, I would say that by no later than 2028, there's going to be some sort of a contact event. And this maybe correspond with the grand solar flash that is going to catapult us into the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional reality, allowing us to perceive extraterrestrial life forms that are already here, existing on those dimensions, but are imperceptible at this time because we're, again, only limited to the third dimension.
All right, continuing on, let's go to JSCL. Ishmael, do you see aliens, or do the aliens see Israel as the focal point of the last war?
I would say that no. It's. I know a lot of people think that and this is part of the negative timeline, the peer, what is called the fear porn, making us think that there's going to be a third world war. Guys, that's not going to happen in the positive timeline. In the positive timeline, all of the negative, apocalyptic scenarios are canceled. It's not going to happen. So I don't see it happening at all. I think that there is going to be, again, a bifurcation of timelines taking place very soon, where as we get closer to 2026, 2028, there's going to be a split in reality where, the good people of the earth are going to go into a higher timeline where things are much better, and the wicked are going to go into a different timeline. And they're going to be, separated from the good people.
Okay, let's continue. Ishmael, what do you know about the constellation DN?
Well, it depends on what does DN stand for.
I have no idea. Let's move on. Let's go to Super Crazy. Will all Earthlings be fighting in these future wars, or just the volunteer military?
I believe that the starseeds, the 70 plus millions that are here, are pretty much what the armies of the God source, whatever you want to call it, that is now stationed on Earth. So we could relate positive extraterrestrials with angels, and of course, mythological, what they call the mythological legendary beings, right? That we study in mythology. It's all one and the same, guys. The only difference is with the type of installation that we've been given. We're going to be 100 times more powerful than the legendary heroes of the myths that we talk about, that we hear about, like Zeus and Poseidon, and and all that.
All right, let's go to D. Cohen. What you say is true, can this be backed up by any data? If I would like to know more, and I may have some questions.
Absolutely. Like I said, the defector, Dr. Neruda, who defected from the Labyrinth group, which is the need to know basis, part of the Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization. Some of that information was preserved through the Wes Penra papers. That is spelled WESPENRES. If you guys look up the Wes Penra papers, hopefully they're still circulating. It'll talk about this ancient alien predator race that I've been telling you guys about, that is actually equivalently corresponding to the beast, the rise of the Antichrist in the book of Revelation.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Beth. Are the negative ETs kicked out?
Currently, they're being kicked out as I speak right now. Yes, they're pretty much the negative ETs are being eliminated from our planetary spheres. The last bastion of them are still living in Antarctica because the reptilians have to live in cold weather. But from what I understand is the Earthlines and the Whiteheads are going to melt, the heck out of it. And then at that point, they're going to be toasted. No more reptilians on the planet. So Antarctica's next, by the way.
All right, let us continue on. Go to Pammy. How do you know all of this? Where's the information come from? I believe him, as in you, Ishmael. I'm just wondering.
Well, like I mentioned, I consider myself an awakened starseed, a liaison between the galactic community and the Earthlings, in a sense where I am a hybrid. I do have a lot of advanced, galactic human-like genetics, not gray or reptilian, part of the human type of celestial genetics in me that allows me to access information beyond this realm, as to why I wrote my book revealing the galactic history of the Earth. And I'm not the only one that states that all human-like species originated in Lyra. It's also been validated by other, you could say, whether they're walkings or extraterrestrial hybrids. They're all agreeing that the cradle of all humans began in the Lyra constellation in the star system of Vega. So if you guys read my book, again, it's a mind bender. It definitely takes you out of the matrix. You guys are going to fall into a deep rabbit hole.
Okay, let's continue on. Let's go to Jules. Who contaminated our world with AI? Or how did natural psi people come to be here?
Well, I'm starting to believe that the reason why Atlantis fell and Lemuria and all of the other advanced civilization was because they were infested with AI, with black goo, again, coming from this predatory AI. And so the difference is that this time we're going to be, witnessing a bifurcation of timelines through the Great Solar Flash, where all that negative stuff, the AI infrastructure will be nuked like an EMP when the solar flash takes place. And so I believe that our world and many other civilizations have been contaminated with AI that was brought forth by the reptilians themselves, who in turn are also contaminated by AI.
And in Australia, what if the AI integrates with us and we take over?
Then you will lose your soul. That would make you a cyborg, and you don't want to go. You don't want to take that route. You want to do it organically. I believe in the organic ascension. Put it this way, guys. Laying dormant within our DNA, we have the most ultimate software beyond any quantum computer, and it's organic and it's living. It's called our dormant DNA. If you guys are patient enough, when the solar flash takes place, it is believed that all this, junk DNA, so-called junk DNA, is going to activate. And when it does, we're going to be way more powerful than any AI. So, have faith and wait for the organic ascension to take place.
Will they come in downloads?
the downloads are already coming. A lot of people are already connecting with their higher self, which is an aspect of themselves that is pretty much knows everything. It is the God aspect of themselves. Some people call it the Christ consciousness. And then a lot of people believe that that's what the second coming of Christ is. It's not one figure coming from the sky as portrayed by organized religions, but it is the manifestation of the Christ mind through all of us, through the millions of people that are actually doing the meditations and doing the spiritual work. So, the downloads are coming. All of our memories are going to come back as to who we were, why we were, and we're going to remember our mission. And don't be surprised if we actually come from the future as well. Some of us, all right, to alternate the timeline where the AI doesn't win and takes over humanity, because there is a time war taking place between future versions of ourselves, right, and the AI.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Sweet Donna Spencer. Have you seen an entity come out of a portal lately?
No. I haven't seen that happening. Yeah, they stay away from me. I'm also, you could say, in the astral realm. I'm a demon slayer, an archon slayer, a reptilian slayer. So I am a warrior. So they don't come. They don't even want to get close to me.
All right, continuing on. Let us go to Pammy. Do you have a personal contact with any of these aliens, good or bad?
I'm only associated with the Guardian Alliance, with the Guardian races, typically known as the Syrians, the Lyrants, and some of the Pleiadians and Andromedans, of course. There's also a race that I work with that are existing in a dimension beyond our galaxy known as the Azurites. And the Azurites were the original Elohim races, the Christed races, in which we all come from, by the way. And it has nothing to do with religion. These are just races that originated, that were immortal, that were light beings, without physical form of flesh and blood. Those are our ancestors. We descended from that. We devolved from that, from those light beings of immortals, whatever you want to call them. That's where our ancestry comes from, which is what I reveal in my book, Our Cosmic Origin.
Okay, let's continue on here. Let's go to our final question of the night with 2 minutes to go from D. Henderson, the lovely and talented D. Henderson. Since this is the galactic hub, is the Earth much bigger than what we know?
Well, the Earth is exists on different dimensions. So when people think of the flat Earth, they're only perceiving it from a 2D perspective. From a third dimensional perspective, it's a sphere, it's a globe. From a fifth dimensional perspective, it's actually 4 times as big. It's as big as Jupiter. And so, yes, in that regard, in a higher dimension, Earth is bigger. And as we go into higher versions of the Earth, because Earth also has higher versions of itself, adjacent Earths that exist all the way to the 12th dimension, the Earth keeps getting bigger and bigger, as big as our sun, eventually. And yes, it is a galactic hub.
That's a lot of plywood.
It is.
Nails. A lot of plywood and nails. With 1 minute to go here, I want to say a big thank you, Ishmael, for you coming on Spaced Out Radio for the first time and explaining and breaking all this down to us. It's highly intense, highly controversial. Takes a lot to understand what you're going through, but congrats on your mission and you doing whatever you feel you need to do, my man.
I appreciate that. I'm doing my best in the awakening, in the, getting as many people out of the matrix as much as possible. I believe that's my soul mission. That's my purpose. And I'm also here to also remind the other starseeds of their mission and purpose, because I come with a team. It's not just me. It's the 70 plus million starseeds that are on the planet that are all part of this, saving of humanity, and hence the Earth and the organic way of life everywhere.
I hear you there. My friend, great getting to know you. All of our listeners should go get Our Cosmic Origin from your website, from Amazon, and good luck in your research in the future. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just to let you guys know, you could access all my platforms, my book, and my channel under our cosmicorigin.com. That is our cosmicorigin.com.
Coming up next, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. Then Robin McCrae will be here for the Cryptid Report. An amazing third hour Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. Great job tonight, my man.
Thank
Great
you.
job. I hope you had fun with our audience.
Oh, I did, man. This is what I enjoy doing for a living, is blowing people's mind. Hopefully.
Good. Keep up the great research.
Always, my friend.
All right. Take care.
All right, you too. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ismael Perez, everyone. Good dude. Good dude. He is the keeper of the woo. That man keeps the woo. I like him. I'll be right back. Studio's a little hot, so I'm going to go cool down. Be right back. All right. We having fun yet? We having fun tonight? Robin's stream is. She'll figure it out. She said, "There she is. Look at the lovely."
I made it back in time.
So
I
glad
have been on a plane all day.
Nice. Nice. I'm excited to see you.
I'm excited to see you. I was hoping I'd make it back in time. I've been gone for a week.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yes. Let's see. We've got like 30 seconds, and then we got to go to Steve Stockton. But I want to say thank you tonight to Free Your Mind. Darth ×2, W. Decker ×2, Louis ×2, Lord, Mike, Lala ×2, Human Carl, Ozzy Ange, Neuro, and Debster for the great super chats. Our Space Travelers Club is open on Patreon. There is your link to the Woo Club. And here we go with hour number 3, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Saculum. Saculum is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is that time of the night where we kick off hour number 3 with our good friend Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and another creepy story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Next up, we have Patrick McDermott. In 2005, Patrick McDermott, the former boyfriend of the late singer and actress.
What the heck happened there? Hold on. We're having, let's go here. Let's restart that. We had a little bit of a technical issue there.
Next up, we have Patrick McDermott. In 2005, Patrick McDermott, the former boyfriend of the late singer and actress Olivia Newton-John, went missing during a fishing trip off the coast of California and was believed to have drowned. The ship's crew found Patrick's keys, wallet, and passport, and his car was parked nearby. Since the crew failed to do a head count, no one noticed he was missing for another week when he failed to attend a family event. Patrick previously filed for bankruptcy and had been in a legal dispute over child support payments with his ex-wife. He was thought to have been in significant debt when he disappeared. "It's not at all like him to disappear," said neighbor Kathleen Padden. On July 11th, Patrick's family learned some of his items were left behind at the 22nd Street Marina. Frank Liversedge, who managed the marina, believed Patrick made it to shore and intentionally left his belongings behind for unknown reasons. "I know he got to the top of that ramp. I've been here for 45 years as a boat captain and a vessel master. I have never lost a fisherman," said Liversedge. Despite an extensive search, Patrick's body was never found. One investigator proclaimed to have seen and spoken with him in 2009, but the claim was never confirmed. Another investigator alleged to have proof he was alive and was on the verge of revealing it, but never did. At least 20 sightings of Patrick in Mexico and Central America have surfaced, but many have proven to be false. Many speculate he faked his own death because he was in substantial debt and could not keep up with the, quote, Hollywood lifestyle, end quote. Hosts of a podcast entitled Pseudocide, The Disappearance of Patrick McDermott, alleged Patrick was lost at sea and did die on the fishing trip. The host contacted 10 previously quoted individuals saying they had seen Patrick around Sayulita. Still, none of them could confirm that they had seen him for themselves. Next up, we have Natasha Ryan. Natasha was supposed to attend school in Rockhampton, Queensland on August 31st, 1998. Her mother dropped her off that morning, but her name was missing from the classroom attendance list. Despite a thorough search, she was not found. Her parents told the authorities she had a habit of running away from home, but they felt it was, quote, different this time, end quote. Even her 21-year-old boyfriend, Scott Black, claimed to know nothing about her location. Over time, 3 other local women had gone missing from Rockhampton. All signs pointed to Natasha being harmed on the way to school that morning. Authorities also had a confession from Leonard Frazier, a man who spent 20 of the preceding 22 years in prison for various crimes. Frazier admitted to Natasha's murder as part of a police plea deal. However, on April 11, 2003, almost 5 years after Natasha's disappearance, the case took a puzzling turn. Frazier was on trial when prosecutor Paul Rutledge announced Frazier was not guilty of the murder of Natasha because she was very much alive. Detectives found her hiding in a cupboard at her boyfriend, Scott Black's house, the night before. Black had insisted numerous times that he had not seen or heard from Natasha, but he had been hiding her all along in a home just 4 kilometers away from her mother. Natasha told investigators that when visitors were over, she would hide in cupboards, but otherwise she would wander around the house like normal with the curtains closed. She only left the house when it was dark outside. Natasha was fined $1,000 for causing a false police investigation. Scott Black was convicted of perjury and given a 3-year jail sentence, of which he only served 12 months. He was also forced to pay $16,000 for costs related to the investigation. Natasha and Scott later married in 2008.
Strange cases indeed. Thank you, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing YouTube channel for another amazing trip around the spookiness of people disappearing. If you want more, head on over to youtube.com/Among the Missing. There's hundreds of stories just like that. From the missing to the mountains, let's go searching for Sasquatch. Here's the Cryptid Report. Filling in for Super Duke. From World Bigfoot Radio, we have Robin McCrae, who joins us each time this week at this time. And Robin, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Did you freeze up on us, Robin? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's usually the way we start a conversation. Is
Yeah,
hearing you. That's very good.
it should work good. I had to get a whole brand new device. Like everything I had to get new because at one time, everything I owned electronics shut down at the same time.
Oh my. Oh my, that's
Yeah.
terrible. I don't know how I would react to something like that.
Yeah, it locked me out of Facebook, emails, all social media, the phones, the tablets, everything at one time. Everything I owned just shut right down. All had to be replaced.
Well, I had a nice experience this morning.
Tell me. Do tell.
Because I work 2 jobs. You know, I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I have my day job, and then I come home for like 12 minutes before I enter my radio studio to do this show at night. And I had a beautiful black bear run across the street, right across the
Oh,
highway.
nice.
Yeah, like I wasn't close to hitting him or anything, but I was just like, because I've been wondering lately, like, where'd all the black bears go? I like black bears. I do.
Do you know, when I left Michigan, the day I left, I moved out, which I wish I never would have, but the day I left Michigan, I said to myself, I've lived here my whole life and I've never once seen a black bear. I found bear tracks all over my property, but I've never seen a black bear. I want to see one so bad. And I got literally a half a mile up the road, and here sits one on the side of the road in these people's driveway on its butt. And it's sitting up just watching me as I go by. I thought that was the craziest thing ever, because I just thought, I wish I would see a black bear. And then when I was in Canada with my son, he slowed down and there's a black bear just inside the tree line of the woods, and he stopped the car so I could watch it. What do? I jump out of the car and go walking over towards the black bear, and he probably had a heart attack.
I got a funny black bear story for you. A few years ago, we did a mini Paracon up here, and David Weatherly, Ross Allison, and Grant Cameron were all here, and we were, I drove them up to Barkerville, which is a ghost town and a museum, to do a little bit of investigating, because they had heard all about Barkerville, and on the way to Barkerville, we stopped at this museum where Mandy the haunted doll is, and Mandy was one of two dolls that the haunted dolls of the world that David and Ross had never met before or seen in person. So it was kind of cool to watch them scratch that off their list. But on our way back that afternoon, what was really funny was all of a sudden I'm driving, and I think Grant beside me, and David and Ross are in the background, in the back seat, and Ross is on the passenger side. And he looks out the window, and there's this black bear running on the side of the road, kind of in the ditch, but on this flat part beside the road in the ditch, running as fast as possible, chasing us. And Ross was completely freaking out. This bear's going to catch us. It's going to attack the truck. We're going to die here by a black bear. I'm like, Ross, we're doing 70 miles an hour right now. Okay. The bear isn't.
You're safe, buddy.
You're kind of safe. You're kind of safe. But I love it.
We had one that would frequent the back of our property, and I didn't really know it was even back there. And I had a friend over, and he's like, hey, check out all these black bear tracks. Like, there's bears that are back in your woods. And I'm like, I went out there every morning by myself, and I would walk out there with the Bigfoot, and, I would see them walking through the trees, or they would follow me around and I would hear them. And I just was always out there with them. I never thought about anything else. And then the neighbor behind us calls and says, hey, we just saw this huge, huge cougar go into the back of your woods. I'm like, I go out there every single day, 2 or 3 times a day, and I walk around with the Bigfoot by myself. Never thought about anything but them being out there.
It's amazing on how quickly Mother Nature you can be in Mother Nature and have these animals all around you, and you don't even know. You have no clue they're around. Like in my area where I live, I could tell you that my former neighbor across the street was a forest resources officer, like a forest police officer. And he would say, he told me one time in a conversation, he's like, Dave, if the citizens of the 108 really knew how many mountain lions lived in our subdivision, people would never go outside. They'd never go outside. Well,
it's like, I came out on the porch because it was actually nice out here tonight. And I'm watching outside, and we occasionally you'll see a deer pop out. And I mean, not tonight. I haven't seen any of the Bigfoot, but it's not unusual to see them. And I'm like sitting here, and all of a sudden I get these two, and I love possums. I'm a big fan of possums. And I have a couple that I feed all the time, but these 2 possums, and they weren't my regulars. One comes in from one side of the property, the other comes in from the other side, and they're like trying to duke it out in front of me.
Oh,
and I'm like, in what world does this happen?
right? How about the Sasquatch? How have the Sasquatch been in your area?
They have been really, I think, pretty active. It's like cold and flu season for them. I'm getting a lot of healings where, they ask me to heal them and the kids have got the colds and the creep and crud and stuff. But they seem to be pretty mobile. This heat has slowed them down considerably. It really has, because it's too hot for them to do much of anything. But when you get these evenings like here, it's in the 80s tonight, but it's at least cooler with a little bit of a breeze, and you tend to see them really, get out and about then. The heat slows them down. It really does. I mean, we've had such an incredibly high heat. Texas is getting hammered. I just came back from Florida. The heat there, you couldn't breathe. I mean, you literally could not breathe.
I've been there like that. How does a Sasquatch stay cool in the summer?
They'll get in the water. They'll literally go into the cave systems where they can go deep enough in the cave systems where it's cooler. They'll go underground where it's cooler. They will do whatever they have to do to try to stay cool. Water's always their first choice. They swim extremely well. Like I said, and again, the cave systems are cool down there. They have underground tunnels that go everywhere, and those are much cooler than it is on top. But it will slow them down. I mean, they're not going to be out there when it's that hot by all means. I mean, they'll get out, but they're not going to be like they normally are. So we tend to see them on the, like tonight where it's a cooler night. They'll be more active tonight. They've been hooting and hollering. I haven't seen anybody, but I've heard them.
How do they keep their hair shorter?
I think it depends on the individual. I don't think it's that they keep it shorter. You have some that will actually groom themselves and try to make their hair better. You have some, and I've seen it happen multiple times where the females will braid their hair, the males will braid their hair. When Sadie brought the baby to see me, her hair, she looked like cousin It from the Addams Family. She had so much hair. It was just astronomical. And when she would walk, the hair would part because those muscles flex so severely. The hair would just part over the top of her muscles. But I don't think, do they, find a way to maybe shorten their hair? They might. They could take sharp rocks. They could pull it out. They could do whatever they wanted to do. But I mean, predominantly, I don't necessarily know that they're shortening their hair. There's different lengths of hair. There's different hair types. There's different colors. We have some that are really, really long. Shadow, the one that I'm real close to, his is very, very short. Very, very, very short. Brownie's a little bit shaggier. It just depends on the individual.
Sweet Donnie Cho would like to know, how do we kill Bigfoot? Is it possible? I don't think it's possible.
Number one, I don't even talk about that because I am just not pro-kill. So I don't usually try to give advice on how it can be done. Is it possible? I think you pick and choose your battles. And what happens when you do go after them, number one, you're killing a type of a human. So there's that factor. Obviously, if the one's trying to kill you, you have the right to defend yourself because there are some bad ones out there, but we don't actively look to kill them. But can they be killed? I think
I don't look at his question as being nefarious in any way. I think he's curious. Donnie's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah, that's why I'm answering it. Do I think they can be killed? I think they can, but when you go that route, please understand, number one, they're joined by a collective consciousness. Two, they're all telepathic. And three, if there's one, I promise you there's more out there. They generally don't let somebody go off by themselves. So even if you were to take one down, you have to deal with the rest of them that are around. So it's not always as easy as it seems. The other thing is, and this has been proven in history, where when they get threatened with a shotgun or a rifle or whatever, they literally have been able to stop the guns from firing. And I know somebody that I'm very close with that had that happen. Her husband was going to shoot a coyote, and it was one of the Bigfoot's coyotes they, were using as a pet. Excuse me, I'm getting little gnats that are driving me nuts. And he had used that gun several times. I mean, that was a gun that he used constantly. He went to go fire at this coyote, and every time it misfired. He couldn't get it to shoot. As soon as they called the coyote and the coyote went back to the Bigfoot, all of a sudden the gun worked again. And then there's multiple amount of stories where they found guys that have tried to shoot one, probably didn't realize what they were and it frightened them, tried to shoot them, and they found the barrel of the gun wrapped around their neck. So you're looking at something with immense strength. You're also looking at something that at times can be in physical form. In that physical form, of course, just like us, they do have their vulnerabilities that they could be killed. But if they're not in that physical realm, because they are multidimensionals, the abilities that they have is astounding, and it can very well be turned around on you. So in answer to his question, can they? Yes, they can. They absolutely can. But it's one of those things that just because they can doesn't mean you should. And it's not always for their protection as much as it is for ours. So it's one of those things that you have to really weigh all the odds. Now, if you're out in the woods and one is trying to kill you, then you have the right to defend yourself. You're not going to let them harm you or your family. But again, there's generally one that is around. They're telepathic, that they have a shared consciousness. They have the strength where they can pick up a car and toss it like it's a candy wrapper. So, definitely weigh those options before you attempt it.
Yeah, I'm not pro kill either. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I didn't.
But
I didn't take offense.
No, I am somebody though who I really do not believe that a Sasquatch can be killed for a couple of reasons. We've heard of people shooting these creatures, and they walk off like nothing had happened to them.
Oh yeah.
Number
Absolutely.
two, and number two, we often see these creatures of when they are pointed or have a gun pointed at them, because of their humanistic traits, we often do see them, people put their guns down,
Red Creek Mafia, Mike Bueller.
Anastasia would like to know, what kind of supernatural abilities do they have?
Well, there's a huge range. And the ones that I generally speak of only because I've witnessed it. Because do I know of more that they've done? Yeah, because they've told me. But, I try to stick to things I've seen. Telekinesis, they can do that. They can levitate. They have the ability to create orbs and toss them up in the air like they're baseballs, open and close portals. Cloaking, which is a major one. Absolutely a major one. Shapeshift. Put intent in your mind doesn't mean that's a bad intent, but they can project emotion on you so that you feel an overwhelming amount of love or hate or anger or fear, or whatever they want to project on you. The list goes on and on. I mean, I think you've got a shorter list of what they can't do. I mean, it's truly, truly remarkable. And I get why people don't always believe that they can do it. My basis, I've never gone to books to learn anything about them. It's all by living around them and my own encounters with them and what they themselves have taught me and what I've witnessed. Like I've never once went to a book and said, oh, I could learn about this from them because it's in this book. It never happened for me because I was getting my teachings from them. I've watched them start a fire pit when there was nothing there to start it with. But again, you have to understand that each clan runs its clan differently. So you have some that are very much into using their abilities, and you have other clans that are old school and will not use any abilities other than mind speak. So then they stay in flesh and blood more than they would per se the other groups. It just is, it's like the Amish. We have Amish people that have different sectors and their own different beliefs. And so, you just kind of have to go by clan. I think the ones that do actually get killed are probably more that stay in that flesh and blood mode. I mean, the healing capabilities that they have are extensive. So even if one were to get shot, if they're with a group that is very much into those healing abilities, not to mention the fact that there's multiple people like myself that do healings on them, where they may have to have their energies and our energies matched to be able to do it. So it makes it difficult, to have one that, if you're in that situation. But abilities wise, there's just not a whole lot they can't do.
On that note, Robin, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to go to our final break of the night. Robin McCrae, the Sasquatch priestess, is here with us tonight. Filling in for Senior News on World Bigfoot Radio on the Cryptid Report. We will be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this. We are clear.
Yeah, I mean, I got in just a few hours ago and it was like, there is no way I was missing the show. So that's why I sent you that message earlier, because you always send me a message just to kind of confirm. And I'm like, I will never get this message. So I beat you to the punchline.
Got you. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love your show. Absolutely love it. And you have the best people that come on the show, you know, and your regulars in your chat are phenomenal. So yeah, I always enjoy it.
Well, thank you.
I make Melba Ketchum keep me awake because for me it's 2 a.m. when it comes on. And so every Tuesday I call Melba and I'm like, okay, you're up as late as I am. I talk to her 3 or 4 times a day anyway, but I'm like, you got to keep me awake till Dave's show. So we stay on the phone for about 2 or 3 hours.
How's Melba doing?
She is doing fantastic. She's working on the Genome Project. She's got some other things going on, but mostly the Genome Project is what we both are working on a lot, you know, picking out the better samples, getting some things tested. Then we need the genomes done and a lot of work, but she's up for it. So she's doing good. Like I said, I'm on the phone with her quite a bit during the day and in between work and everything else. Between her and the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference that you will be at, as well as Duke Sullivan, Blaine Tyler, Sabilla Irwin. We've got, Rob Kreider's coming. We just have a huge cast of really, really great people. And of course, you will be there, which I'm very excited about. So between the conference in Nebraska and the Genome Project and then work every day, lots of busy times.
Very cool.
Exhausting. Yeah.
Very cool. Yes, and we encourage all of our listeners to come visit us in Nebraska.
Yeah. As soon as that link is up, we will get it. We'll put it over in the show, and we would love to see everybody. We've moved to a bigger venue this time. So that's great. And it's in Grand Island instead of Hastings, Nebraska, because Grand Island has bigger conference halls. And we're going to be at Fauner Park. So we're excited about that. We've already had to increase our room size once because we were finding out that we had a lot more people coming than we thought. And, we have a hotel, like literally not even a mile away that will give discounts if you let them know that you're for the Bigfoot conference. So
who's picking me up from the airport? That's what I want to know.
The hotel will send a shuttle over for you.
Oh, wow. Limo? Do I get limo service? Oh,
yeah. Wouldn't that be fun? No, they're going to, they have a shuttle service and we will give them everybody's times and they will go get them, bring you back to the hotel. At the hotel, there's places all around you to eat if you want to. And then in the morning when it's time to go to the conference hall, they will also take you there.
Can I wear camouflage?
You can wear anything you want, sweet man. We just want you there.
Is Super Duke wearing camouflage?
When isn't he wearing camouflage?
Yeah. Well, if Super Duke's wearing camouflage, I'm wearing camouflage.
You wear whatever you want. And you can also, if you want to bring any swag or anything like that, or even mail it first to Harriet's house so it's waiting when you get there, let me know and you'll have a table.
I will. I don't usually get a table, but I just like to meander. Tables lock you down. I like to meander.
No, and that's good because we want, everybody to be able to, there you go, feel comfortable and visit with our guests and talk and enjoy and, just have a good time. Like that's what we're going there for. We all want to have fun, whether we're working at the event or participating or, a member of the audience. We want that interaction.
And what weekend?
That is the 26th and 27th of April.
Nice.
Yeah. So what we would do, Dave, is we would bring you in on Thursday. So that way you have a full night's sleep before the event starts on Friday. And then the event goes Friday and Saturday. And then your flight would be out on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. We're really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. lot of fun. And we've got a lot more advertising this year than we have in the past. So that's only going to benefit us. And the event hall is Fauner Park. And so what's nice about that is there's a series of events that will be going on at the same time ours will. So, people can see everything.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Let's say thank you to Sweet Donnie Cho, Free Your Mind, Darth, W. Decker ×2, Darth ×2, Lord Louis ×2, Deb, Lala ×2, Ozzy Ange, Human Carl, and Neuro for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciated. Don't forget our swag, spacedoutradio.com. And here we go, everyone. Stay tuned. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind all of you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire. Also check out our swag. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio, as well as you can support our Space Travelers Club by heading over to Patreon. We continue on with Robin McRae and the Cryptid Report. We got a couple of questions for you, Robin. And this one comes from Asia. Do they, the big feats, move around depending on the seasons? Where do they go in the winter?
Everybody just thinks that they vacate in the winter. They really don't, as much as people think they do. They do not migrate. They will send hunters out to follow the food sources. I just got new earbuds and they won't stay in my darn ear. I have really tiny ears. And so they will send hunters out that will follow the food sources and take it back to the clan. But again, they have caves, they have underground tunnels, they have, where they've created their own homes. And whether, permitting is whether they're out of it, but they actually do not hibernate, or they do not migrate. It's simply some of the clan members will go. But at the same time, it's really, we need to understand that just like we have people that don't like warm weather or cold weather, it's like you get some people that go to Florida for the winter to stay out of the cold. They'll do that. One of mine's mate, every time when I was in Michigan and it would be wintertime, she would go stay with her mom in Florida and then she'd come back afterwards. But traditionally they don't. They're more scarce. I've seen just as many sightings in winter than I ever have in summer or fall. Fall's the busiest, but I've seen a lot of them in the winter. And they do levitate. So you may not always see as many footprints, or you might see one footprint, but they do levitate.
See, I would see more of this as them going into the cave systems.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's been so many people in the DNR that have gone into these cave systems only to find crops that have been pulled out of the ground and are stored there, and deer carcasses, rabbit carcasses. I mean, they prepare. They're a type of people. They're not our people, but they are a type of people. They know what they're doing. They know how to survive. I mean, they have thrived when we have failed. So you get down in these cave systems and there's a lot. I mean, you'd be amazed at what you find, but they store for winter. They're ready to go. I mean, they don't have to always get out every day because they've got all this preparation that they've done for months prior to it. So just because you're not seeing them every day does not mean they are not there.
True. I can believe that. Do they create their own cave systems?
They can.
They can.
They absolutely can. I know of 2 or 3 different situations where they've built their own cave. Just got a bunch of boulders, built their own cave, put boulders on top, did whatever they have to do. And they literally created their own system, and they'll dig down in the ground. They'll make their tunnels. They know what they're doing. I mean, we build that stuff all the time. and they're smarter than we are.
Okay, so how do they do this? I mean, they must be using some sort of primitive tool.
Oh, absolutely. For people to think that they don't use tools, are you going to go out in the woods and see with a power saw? Of course not. That'd be ludicrous. Does that mean that they know how to use tools? Oh, yes. They used to steal tools out of my garage. I had a ton of tools, just they were gone. And, giant muddy footprints all over the garage. And it caused quite a problem at my home because, all these tools were gone. And like a whole year later, I walked out on my porch and all lined up on the banisters of the porch were these tools. And they were so rusted, there was nothing left of them, but they eventually came back. Now, it's also, something that people don't always realize is Igor Borstev in Moscow, he had found at the county park where they were literally getting hold of nails and various things and putting wood pieces up, trying to make teepees and various things for them. And there was, things there that supported the findings that that's what they were actually doing. They'll take a rock if they can get something sharp, if they can get a nail or whatever, they'll take a rock and pound it in instead of using a hammer. I mean, they're strong enough to do it, but they absolutely will do it.
Okay, so in these tunnel systems, have we ever found any of them? Have we ever, because inside you'd think there would be a plethora of evidence, whether it's bones, carcasses, fur.
Yeah, lots of people have found them. Some people have been chased out of them. I mean, you're now in their home. Somebody comes walking in your front door. It's not going to be the highlight of your night. It's not for them either. But yeah, lots of people have found their cave systems, and lots of people have found evidence that they were there. In Michigan, and I believe it was the east side, I had been there at one point in time with some other people that were doing research, and there was a cave system there, and they found all kinds of evidence. They found 14 deer stacked up. They found blankets they had stolen from people. They had found remnants of a fire pit. They do cook with fire if they want to. Not all of them do, but some of them do, and they absolutely do. I've watched them do it. But does that mean they all do? Absolutely not. No. Some of them don't. They're old school. They don't tend to use fire. I know when we were in Michigan, the clan that I interacted with on a daily basis, they did use fire. But that doesn't mean they all do. They're all individuals. They all do their own thing.
When Albert Ostman was taken in British Columbia, one of the things that he stated was that the Sasquatch there had a fire pit going. How do you think they are creating fire?
Well, they can do that with energy. The Native Americans did it with rocks or with a stick, and twirling it. And they have learned so much from Native American traditions. There's no reason to believe that they aren't capable of doing that just by copying what the Native Americans did. They are highly evolved, highly intelligent. They may not be our people, but they really and truly, they can do these things. They're not an ape running around in the woods. No more ape than we are. And they learned a lot from the Native Americans. So is there some that are going to do it with those ways? Absolutely. I have also seen them zap the fire pit, and all of a sudden now there's a flame.
Okay, so they got their built-in Zippo lighters.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They got it going on.
Okay, so since they both can connect and eat meat, okay, both with raw, the natural way an animal would, or
Right.
by cooking it, why do you think that it's, or what's the difference between maybe clans and elders that are actually doing this?
It's just personal preference. What is the laws in the clan? What does that clan do? It's like if you're raised in a home where they have more fish and, chicken, that's how you live your life. You don't think about beef and steak. and a lot of pork. I mean, you learn, it's what, you're raised with and how you do it. And they are pretty much the same. I think they all are pretty decent about a wide variety, but I also think that it comes down to individual preference.
D. Cypher wants to know if Sasquatch or the big feets appear more at certain times, full moon or new moon, for example.
Sure. They will celebrate new moons and full moons and solstice and, various things like that. I mean, I can remember one year and it was supposed to be solstice and they were all hooting and hollering and running around the yard. And I was like, what is going on? It didn't dawn on me it was solstice. I just had forgotten all about it. And I said, what is going on? And they're like, we're having a magic party. I said, what do you mean a magic party? You guys don't even consider it magic. Like, what are you out there doing? And all you could do is see them tossing orbs all over the place. It was absolutely hysterical. They just had a ball. They were loud. They were proud. They were doing their own thing, but they absolutely do. The energy changes during those things. You have the full moon, you have solstice, you have Beltane. There's an energy shift in there. And everything, we go back to the same thing that we talk about all the time. They are frequency and energy. That is how everything is ruled on this planet and in the galactics by everything. Everything is energy based. Everything has a frequency. Everything has an energy signature. And when it comes to the Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever you choose to call them, they are a higher energy and frequency being. So when you have these moments where you have a full moon or solstice or Beltane or a red moon or any of these things, it's a higher frequency and higher energy, and they will definitely be out there loud and proud to grab some.
Wondering about the youngsters. Do they eat the same diet as...
Yeah, the parents, just like we teach our kids, I'm sure there's some things that they may not want the kids to have right away, but yeah, they will eventually get them on the same diet that they are.
Okay, so what they eat the same meat, they eat the same everything.
Yeah, I mean, when they're starting out, they may, get them used to it, just like we have our babies on baby food or whatever. And I'm sure that they will feed theirs in possibly a different, way as their bodies mature and get used to and adapt to food. But eventually they all are going to be eating the same thing.
Okay. All right. Predatory animals such as bears and mountain lions and the such, how does Sasquatch react to these creatures being in their territory?
They can be territorial about it. I mean, you don't want a black bear sitting down on your front porch, but also they will use any animal in the woods as a pet. We have 3 that walk around here and I'm not the only one that's seen them. One of my neighbors saw them. They have a cougar as a pet, or they have coyotes or various things. And so if they've tamed it as a pet, then that's just theirs. It's a pet. However, they are not opposed to catching these things and eating them. They're not going to do that if it's their pet, but they absolutely will do it. Like they love bear meat. And if they feel that it's a threat, like let's say a bear is in Sasquatch territory and their children are there, what would any of us not do to protect our kids?
Have there been encounters of creatures like bears trying to attack, say, younger Sasquatch?
I think have I seen them documented? I actually haven't seen them documented. Do I think that happens? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I also think that, when it comes down to it, the Sasquatch are definitely the apex out there. And, the bear are going to move away. They may get a couple of them that don't, and they'll finish them off if they feel that they are in a situation to harm the family units or the kids. But yeah, I think that they're pretty much smart enough, these other animals, to know that this is not something to be messed with. But they'll take down a bear for the meat.
Do predatory animals kind of shy away from the territory?
Yeah.
Is that the main reason why we may, get, a lot of people will say they get that smell of skunk around Bigfoot?
Yeah, I mean, they will run off whatever they need to. And I think that it's important to realize that they can project any smell, any emotion, anything they want on you. That's one of the paranormal abilities that they have. So you have two sets of smells. You have some that just their personal hygiene sucks, just like we have people that have the same problem. I mean, I saw one video somebody took of one, and it was walking across the road and there was nothing but feces stuck all over it. And I'm like, dear God, dude, go to the river, take a bath. But then 90% of the ones I've seen have not had this odor. Their hair looks tremendous, like it's been brushed, and they're not filthy like that. You smell maybe a little bit of a dirt smell or something, but then I've also been out in the woods and they'll project smells of whatever they want you to smell, whether it be flowers. One always smelled like coffee. There's one that comes out of Texas that always smells like skunks because he loves the skunks, and that boy will grab skunk and rub it all over him. And so they can project it as well as wear it. And again, everybody has a different level of hygiene, and our people as well as theirs. And so that will attribute to it too. It does not mean by far that all of them smell badly, because they absolutely don't. More than not, don't have those terrible odors. But if they want to, we had one that every time you'd go out in the woods, you'd smell fresh coffee that had just been brewed. And I don't like coffee, but I do love the smell of it. And it was definitely a coffee smell. And then we had a female that every time she came around, she smelled like flowers. And there's a lot of people that say when they're pregnant, they have that flower smell. But this one, she had not, she already had children. She was older at this point. She just liked the smell of flowers. She'd go and pick them and rub them all over her.
I can understand that. That's a nice Sasquatch.
Yeah.
With 5 minutes to go here, we treat this creature like it's a pariah, like it's something that is, the evil red eyes, the ultimate forest. How do you change the reputation of a pretty docile creature for the most part if the public doesn't even believe it exists?
It's really difficult because you've got to have enough people that have had experiences that are willing to come forward and share their story and share their experiences, because a lot of people won't because of the ridicule. I got over years ago caring if people ridiculed me or not. They're either going to or they're not. And I can't make the choice for anybody. I don't want to impose my beliefs on somebody. I'm happy to share my experiences. But I also don't take offense to the people that don't believe it, because in my mind, the way that processes is when you are open-minded enough and your vibration is high enough, you are more than likely going to experience these things, and it'll make sense. It'll just kick in. Until that time, you're simply not ready. I wish these people all the success in life, that at some point they're able to have some of the experiences I have. But until they're in that state of mind where they can accept it, there's nothing I can do. So I don't take offense to it. But I think that it's really hard. I don't go into it ever trying to convince anybody. I was not put on this planet to convince people. Maybe share my story, help people that need help, and, educating them on them or working with them or whatever. But I was never put here to convince anybody. And I think most people are the same way. And I think the only way that we can get people on board is educate them. For the people that are experiencing them, educate them, not only the bad, but the good. Let them know that there is more than one way. And give people a safe place to be able to talk. Because when they have encounters, they don't feel there's a safe place to talk. That's why they don't. I get contacted daily by new people. And I feel totally blessed that they do. But they come to me because it's a safe place where they don't feel that they have that. So a lot of encounters don't get recorded. A lot of encounters don't get talked about. So I think it's a matter of, educating people and being kind to one another so that people feel safe to be able to share their experiences, and let everybody come to their conclusions in their own time. Okay, like I know the stuff that I've experienced with them, and I quite honestly, I know other people that have had the same thing, but honestly, a lot of people aren't ready for that yet, and that's okay. That's 100% okay, because when they're ready, it will happen.
And what does that readiness look like?
It's not a look, it's a feeling. It becomes a sense of knowing. And when you come into situations, Dave, just like you did when you saw that male, okay, you were ready. So when you saw him, you handled it properly. You weren't hysterical. You weren't frightened. You weren't terrified. You handled it because mentally you were at that place where you were ready. And he made you wait until he thought you were ready. And it was a wonderful experience for you. But had you had that experience 2 years before that, it may not have been as comfortable for you as it was. Everybody gets there when they're supposed to.
All right. Well, final question for you tonight.
Sure.
Then we're going to start wrapping this thing up. For you, do you ever see a point where Sasquatch are going to make themselves more known to people in the forest? Do you see
they
that
are now? Yeah, they already have. The last 3 years has been tremendous, and the amount of sightings is up because they're allowing those sightings to be up. I did that conference in Russia. I came home. I did a couple of small conferences in Michigan, and I said, no more. I'm going out in the woods with my guys. I don't want to do the conference scenes. I don't care. I just want to be with my guys. And that's what I did. 5 years ago, they came to me and they said, we want to try this again. We want to try again to get people to realize what we really are, that we're not monsters, and we want you to talk about us. And that's when I do John Stamey's conferences and I do Harriet McFeely's conferences. Those are the only ones I do because they give me the platform to talk about what the Bigfoot want me to do. And that's what I do. When they say it's over and they don't want to do that anymore, I'm going back out in the woods and nobody will see me again. You know, I'm doing what they asked me to do. I'm doing what they want me to do. And it's not, I don't do this for myself. It's never been about me. It's always been about them. It will never be about me. I am insignificant. All I am is I'm just a messenger to get the word out that they've taught me that they want out. And when they are done and they don't want to try anymore, I'm gone.
And that's why we love you, Robin McCrae, filling in for Super Duke on
I love you
World
too.
Radio. We'll talk to you next week, my dear.
Bye. Everybody have a wonderful night. See you next week.
All right. Robin McCrae, the Cryptid Report, hanging on out. And we say thank you to her, as well as Ismael Perez, for a great show this evening. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. There we go. Woohoo. All right. Gong Show, where have you been? Where have you been? All right, Robin McCrae, let's get you there. Thank you for another
Yeah.
one.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. I just wanted to say bye to you, and then I'm going to head off to bed. Like I said, I got up at 6:30 this morning and did all kinds of. I was working in Florida for a week, so just got back and wanted to make sure I was here.
Well, we love you for it.
I love you too, sweetheart. I'll talk to you next week.
Take care, my dear. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
That's why we love her. That's Robin McCrae, everybody. Robin McCrae. Robin McCrae. Michael Fontaine. No, I've never had sex with a Bigfoot. Not into body hair. Donnie Cho would. Just saying. Donnie Cho totally would make love to a Bigfoot. Right, Donnie? Be honest. Be honest, Donnie Cho. Moody Mongol. What's happening? I didn't see the mod thing, Jason. I apologize. They're usually pretty good. They work hard for me. Dead Fish, how are you? 8 a.m. in the UK, just getting breakfast together. What's for breakfast tonight or this morning, Moody? Be really cool to see that bear in the morning again. 'Tis bear season. Everybody in my neighbor, when the what we call the 604s who've moved up here, we say to them when they report bears in our area, we're all like, "Oh, cute! Oh, that's awesome!" And they're all like, "What? I don't want anybody to get hurt." Yeah, you live in their area, dude. There's children. Yep. Some of them have to learn through Darwinism. Oh, Tokeland, I don't have that sexy Burton Cumming voice. Decipher, when we had our sighting last year, it was the day before the full moon. No, Peter. He does with my son, though. My son totally knows when they're around. Totally knows. Derek Galloway. Did everybody know that Derek Galloway is only 5'5" and can actually slam dunk a basketball? Peter, my son will just know when they're around. He'll know when they've asked us to leave. He just gets these little vibes and feelings that he's tuned into. Chad Kroger is Canada's greatest singer. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. Where's the end? Right there. I want to go see the Vegas Sphere. Sorry, Derek. I didn't get to see you in Vegas, so I wasn't knowing if you had your heels on. All right, those are done. Merle's on tomorrow night. Merle. See you, D. Saifa. Merle. I've never been to the North Pole. Never been. Going slow tonight. All right. Why do you owe me Taco Bell there, D. Cohen? Thanks, Forest of Monsters. I appreciate that for your mind. Thank you. Right now, this is pineapple ice. And this one, my next one will be blueberry. Missouri man, thank you. You're more than welcome to come back anytime and say hello, but you got to trade me a hit on that subscribe button, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Oh, there is a company in Canada that makes a wooden watch called the Sasquatch. desktop. There we go. No. Transfer. That's all I want to do. Transfer the damn thing. Well, the mechanics are metal, but the outer housing is all wood, including the bracelet. I'd love to get them as a sponsor. I get like 100 thumbs up each night, dude. You owe me like 200 taco time or Taco Bells now. And you didn't even show up for Vegas, and you told me you were coming. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, lovely Desiree. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Happy birthday, Desiree. From all of us at Spaced Out Radio. Well, Decode, you better show up in Reno. Otherwise, I'm going to file a missing persons report. All right. Tomorrow night on the show, Merle is back with Ghost of the Great White North. And then that'll be midweek, finish things off. And then big thank you tonight to Louie, Neuro, Carl, W. Decker, Lala, Deb, Dalla, Ange, Darth, Mike, Louie, Lord, W. Decker, Darth again, Free Your Mind, Donnie Cho, and Thomas Fessler. Thank you for their super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who hit subscribe, rang that bell, and to Mennonite Abe for becoming our first space traveler on Patreon. We'll see you all tomorrow night, everybody. Take care.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.